The station exists in that quiet hour when the world holds its breath between one day and the next. Not quite midnight, not quite the small hours of morning, but somewhere in that velvet space where time moves differently. The platform stretches long and empty, lit by amber lights that cast pools of warm glow onto the weathered wooden boards beneath your feet. You stand alone, though you don't feel lonely. There's a peculiar comfort in this solitude, like being wrapped in a familiar blanket. The air carries the scent of night-blooming jasmine from somewhere beyond the platform's edge, mingling with a faint smell of old wood and metal and something else. Something like possibility. A gentle breeze stirs, and you notice how quiet everything is. No cars rumbling in the distance. No voices. No rush. Just the soft whisper of wind through leaves you cannot see, and the distant chirping of crickets orchestrating their nightly symphony. Above, the sky stretches vast and deep, scattered with more stars than you've seen in years. They pulse gently, as if breathing. You've been told about this train, not in any official way, not through advertisements or timetables. The knowledge simply came to you one evening, the way certain truths do, quietly, without fanfare. A train that only travels at night. A train that goes nowhere in particular, and everywhere that matters. A train that asks nothing of you except that you step aboard and let yourself be carried. The platform is older than it first appears. The wooden planks beneath your feet are smooth from countless footsteps, worn into gentle curves and valleys. Here and there, the wood has been repaired, newer boards sitting alongside ancient ones, creating a patchwork of browns and greys. It reminds you that this place has been here for a very long time, serving travellers who came before you, and will serve travellers long after you've gone. Along the platform's edge, old-fashioned lamp-posts stand sentinel, their lights enclosed in glass panels that seem to filter the illumination through honey. Between them, wooden benches sit empty, their backs curved with gentle invitation. Someone has left a book on one bench, its pages held open by the breeze, as if waiting for its reader to return. You don't go to see what book it is. Some mysteries are meant to remain. At the far end of the platform, there's a small wooden shelter, painted deep green with cream trim. Through its open sides, you can see a pot-bellied stove, unlit but somehow suggesting warmth. A handwritten sign hangs beside it, the letters elegant and looping. The train arrives when you're ready. You're ready. You've been ready for some time now, though you didn't quite realize it until this moment. Ready to let go of the day's tensions, its small worries and larger concerns. Ready to release the endless lists and tasks that crowd your thoughts. Ready to simply be here, in this quiet space, waiting for something gentle to carry you away into the deep velvet of sleep. The rails beside the platform gleam silver in the lamplight, stretching away in both directions until they disappear into the comfortable darkness. They make no sound, but you can sense them there, solid and true, patient as mountains. Occasionally, they catch the starlight and throw it back, little sparkles that dance and fade. You take a deep breath, and the jasmine scent grows stronger. Somewhere a night bird calls out, a sound like a question asked softly. Another bird answers from far away, and then silence settles again like snow. The air changes. It's subtle at first, a slight shift in pressure, a gentle movement of wind that wasn't there before. The faintest vibration travels through the platform boards, so soft you feel it more than hear it. The rails begin to hum, a low note that sits right at the edge of hearing, like a cello playing in a distant room. and then, from far down the track, you see it. A light. Small at first, a single point of warm gold in the darkness, swaying gently from side to side with a motion you cannot yet perceive. It grows larger, not quickly, but with patient inevitability. The light is different from electric lights, softer, more alive, like candlelight or firelight, though steadier than either. The humming grows, developing layers. You can hear the rhythmic sound now, the ancient music of wheels on rails, that specific percussion that has lulled travelers to sleep for more than a century. Chuff chuff, chuff chuff, chuff chuff, like a heartbeat, like breathing, like the waves of the ocean finding shore. The train emerges from the darkness like a ship coming into port. Steam curls from its engine, white in the lamplight, trailing behind like silk scarves. The engine itself is magnificent, deep midnight blue, polished until it gleams, with brass fittings that catch and hold the light. It moves with such grace, such gentle power, that you understand immediately. This is a train that knows its purpose. Behind the engine, the carriages appear one by one. Each is painted the same deep midnight blue, with large windows that glow from within with soft, golden light. The windows are tall, reaching nearly from floor to ceiling, and through them you can see rich, warm interiors that promise comfort and peace. The train slows, steam sighing from its sides, and comes to rest so smoothly you barely notice the moment it stops moving. For a moment, everything is perfectly still. The train sits breathing softly, steam rising, its windows glowing like a string of warm promises in the night. Then, with barely a sound, a door opens in the nearest carriage. Warm light spills out onto the platform, and with it comes the scent of cedar and lavender, of old books and fresh linen, of comfort and safety and home. A figure appears in the doorway, the conductor, dressed in a deep blue uniform with brass buttons that match the train's fittings. Their face is kind, weathered by time and smiles, and when they see you, they smile again. "Good evening," they say softly, their voice like warm tea on a cold night. "Welcome aboard. We've been expecting you." They step aside, gesturing toward the interior with a gloved hand, and you see the soft glow within, the promise of a journey unlike any other. A journey into the gentle night, into rest, into peace. You step forward, your foot finding the first step. The metal is solid beneath you, and as you climb aboard, you leave behind everything that doesn't serve you. The worries stay on the platform. The stress remains in the station. The endless thoughts that chase themselves in circles, they wait outside in the night air. Inside the train, there is only peace. The conductor closes the door behind you with a soft click, and somewhere ahead, the engine sighs again. You feel the gentlest movement, barely perceptible, as the train begins to move. Through the windows, the platform slides slowly away, the lamp posts passing one by one, their lights growing smaller, softer, until they're just glowing points in the darkness. And you are moving now, carried by this train that only travels at night, heading into the deep and restful dark where sleep lives. The journey has begun. The interior of the carriage embraces you like a gentle hand. The walls are panelled in deep, rich wood, mahogany perhaps, or walnut, polished to a soft gleam that reflects the lamplight without glaring. The wood grain flows in endless patterns, like water frozen in time, each swirl and whirl unique, each telling a story of years and seasons and patient growth. The lighting comes from brass lamps mounted along the walls. Their glass shades the color of amber honey. The light they cast is warm and kind, neither too bright nor too dim, but perfectly calibrated for this hour of night. It's the sort of light that makes you want to speak in whispers, that invites quietness and contemplation. The floor beneath your feet is covered in a thick carpet, deep blue like the exterior of the train, patterned with subtle swirls of silver that catch the light as you move. Your footsteps make no sound. The carpet cushions each step, absorbs each movement, creates a cocoon of silence around you. Along both sides of the carriage, comfortable seats are arranged. They're not the usual train seats. These are deep armchairs, each one upholstered in soft velvet the color of twilight. Some face forward, some backward, some angled toward the windows. Each has a small side table beside it, and a reading lamp with a pull chain should you want it, though you suspect you won't need it. You choose a seat by the window, one that faces forward. As you sink into it, the chair seems to embrace you, to mold itself around your body with perfect support. The velvet is soft against your hands, and beneath you, the cushion is both firm and yielding, finding that perfect balance between comfort and support. You settle in, feeling your body relax into the chair, releasing tensions you didn't know you were holding. Through the window, the world slides by in soft darkness. The train has picked up speed, though you can barely feel it. There's only the gentlest rocking motion, a subtle sway from side to side that's less like movement and more like being rocked in someone's arms. The rhythm is hypnotic, soothing, ancient. The landscape outside is mysterious and beautiful. You're traveling through countryside now, though it's hard to make out specific details in the darkness. Occasionally, the moonlight, you hadn't noticed the moon before, but there it is, round and pale and serene, illuminates patches of meadow, the silvered tops of trees, the quiet shapes of hills in the distance. Sometimes you pass through small groves of trees, their branches creating patterns against the stars. The train's light touches them briefly, bringing them into existence for a moment before releasing them back into darkness. It's like watching a gentle dream unfold, images appearing and dissolving, nothing demanding your attention, everything simply being. The carriage is not empty, you realize, though it took you a moment to notice. Here and there, other passengers sit in their own comfortable chairs. An elderly woman near the front, her head tilted back, eyes closed, a peaceful smile on her face. A young man by the opposite window, gazing out at the passing night with quiet wonder. A couple sitting side by side, not speaking, just being together in the comfortable silence. No one speaks. There's no need for conversation here. Each person is on their own journey into rest, into peace, into the gentle dark of sleep. But there's comfort in knowing you're not alone, that others too have boarded this train, have chosen this journey into night. The rhythm of the rails beneath you becomes more pronounced. You can hear it now, a gentle percussion. Da-dum, 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 da-dum. It's perfectly regular, perfectly steady, like the ticking of an enormous, patient clock. Your heartbeat begins to match it, slowing, steadying, finding its peaceful rhythm. On the small table beside you, you notice a carafe of water, crystal clear, with condensation beading on the outside, and a simple glass. You hadn't noticed it before, but now you realize you're a bit thirsty. You pour yourself a glass, and the water is cool and pure and perfect, tasting faintly of minerals and mountain springs. It refreshes you without energizing you, satisfies without stimulating. The train curves gently, and through your window you catch a glimpse of the engine ahead, its single headlight cutting a swath of gold through the darkness, steam trailing behind like a bride's veil. Then the track straightens again, and the view returns to the gentle, rolling countryside. You notice that the windows are slightly open at the top, and through them comes the night air, cool and fresh, and carrying with it the sense of the world outside. Hay and grass, earth and leaves. Somewhere, the perfume of night flowers. The air moves gently through the carriage, never enough to be a draught, just enough to keep everything fresh and pleasant. The conductor appears, moving down the aisle with quiet grace. They're checking on passengers, but not in an intrusive way. Just a glance here, a gentle nod there, a soft smile. When they reach you, they pause. "Comfortable?" they ask, their voice barely above a whisper. You nod, and you are. More comfortable than you've been in a long time. "Good," the conductor says. "We have a long journey ahead. A beautiful journey. There's no rush to arrive. The night is long, and the way is peaceful." They gesture toward the front of the carriage. The dining car is 3 carriages forward, should you want anything. The observation car is at the rear. But you're welcome to stay right here, of course. Many passengers do. They find their seat and let the night carry them. You nod again. You have no desire to move. This seat, this window, this gentle motion, it's all you need. The conductor smiles, understanding without needing explanation, and moves on. You watch them go, their figure silhouetted against the warm lamplight, and then you turn back to the window. Outside, a field of tall grass ripples in the breeze, the moonlight turning it silver. The grass moves in waves, like the ocean, like breathing, like everything in nature that rises and falls and rises again. You watch it until the field is behind you, until it's replaced by a darker shape, a forest, perhaps, or a hillside. The train's wheels continue their song. Da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. Your eyelids grow heavier, not unpleasantly so, but with that gentle weight that comes when your body knows it's safe, when it knows it can rest. You let them close for a moment, just to rest them, and behind your closed lids you can still sense the movement of the train, the gentle rocking, the steady rhythm. When you open them again, was it a moment later? Several minutes? The view has changed. You're traveling beside a river now, its surface reflecting the moonlight in long, silvered streaks. The water moves in the same direction as the train, and for a moment it feels as though you're traveling together, train and river, companions in the night. You think about journeys, about movement, about the strange and beautiful fact that sometimes the best way to find rest is not to stay still, but to be carried, to surrender to motion, to trust in the rails beneath you, to let yourself be taken somewhere without knowing exactly where. The velvet of your chair is so soft. The rhythm of the rails is so steady. The darkness outside is so complete and so peaceful. You adjust your position slightly, finding an even more comfortable angle, and you realize that you could stay here forever, in this carriage, on this train, traveling through this endless, gentle night. But of course, you don't need to stay forever. You only need to stay as long as you need. And right now, what you need is to sink deeper into this comfort, to let the train carry you further into the peaceful dark, to trust that wherever this journey leads, it will be exactly where you need to go. The river beside the tracks begins to widen. In the distance, you can see the moonlight sparkling on what might be a lake, vast and still. The train curves toward it, following the shoreline, and the view from your window becomes even more beautiful. Water and moonlight, darkness and stars, the gentle rocking of the train, the soft embrace of your velvet chair. You're exactly where you need to be. The lake unfolds beside the train like a secret being slowly revealed. At first, it's just glimpses between trees, flashes of silver, hints of vast stillness. But then the forest falls away, and there it is in its entirety, a lake so wide you cannot see the far shore, its surface so calm it might be polished glass. The moon hangs above it, full and luminous, and its reflection on the water is perfect. Moon above, moon below, and between them the thin dark line of the horizon. You've never seen anything so peaceful. The train slows slightly, as if it too wants to appreciate this moment, wants to give you time to take in this beauty. The tracks run right along the shore now, so close that if you could reach out, you might trail your fingers in the cool water. But you don't need to. It's enough to watch, to witness, to let this scene pour itself into your eyes and settle somewhere deep inside you where beauty lives. The lake is not entirely still, you realize. There are gentle ripples, small circles that expand outward and disappear. Fish rising, perhaps, to catch night insects, or the touch of breeze on water. Each ripple catches the moonlight, holds it for a moment, releases it. The effect is hypnotic. All these small movements within the greater stillness, all this quiet activity in the heart of peace. Along the shoreline, reeds stand tall and straight, dark silhouettes against the silvered water. They sway in unison, bending slightly, straightening, bending again, conducting an orchestra you cannot hear. Between the reeds, you catch glimpses of dark shapes, ducks, maybe, or geese, settled in for the night with their heads tucked under their wings. The train's light reaches out across the water, a warm golden beam that travels ahead, touching the surface, turning silver to gold wherever it passes. It's like watching a painter work, changing the colors with light instead of pigment. Gold and silver, flowing together, separating, flowing together again. In the distance, an island rises from the lake, just a small one, crowned with a single enormous tree. Even from here, you can see how ancient the tree must be, its branches spreading wide and patient over the water. As the train passes, the angle changes, and for just a moment, the moon appears to be sitting in the tree's branches, cradled there like a luminous fruit. Your breathing has slowed to match the train's rhythm. In with the forward motion, out with the gentle sway. In with the soft sound of wheels on rails, out with the quiet sigh of your own contentment. Your chest rises and falls, and each breath seems to carry away a little more tension, a little more of the day's residue. The other passengers in the carriage are barely visible now, not because the light has dimmed, but because your focus has narrowed to the window, to the lake, to the moon and its perfect reflection. You're aware of them the way you're aware of your own heartbeat, present but not demanding attention, comforting in their quiet existence. A night bird flies past the window, dark wings spread wide, gliding over the water. It makes no sound, leaves no wake in the air. It's there and then it's gone, like a thought passing through your mind, gentle and unattached. You don't try to hold on to it. You let it go, let it disappear into the night, and feel lighter for the release. The lake seems to go on forever. Time has become strange on this train, elastic and dreamlike. Has it been 5 minutes since you first saw the lake? 20? An hour? It doesn't matter. Time here is measured differently, not in minutes and hours, but in breaths, in heartbeats, in the number of times the moonlight sparkles on the gentle waves. You notice a small dock extending into the water, weathered and grey. A single boat is tied there, rocking gently with the motion of the water. Empty. Waiting. For what? For whom? You'll never know, and somehow that's perfect. Not everything needs explanation. Some things exist simply to be beautiful, to add their small note to the symphony of the night. The train curves slightly, following the contour of the shore, and now you can see ahead to where the lake narrows. There, spanning the water, is a bridge, an old stone bridge arching gracefully, its reflection creating a perfect circle with its own span. The train will cross this bridge, you realize. You'll travel over water, suspended between sky and lake, held safe by ancient stone and iron rails. As the train approaches the bridge, you feel a slight change in the sound, a subtle shift in the rhythm. The wheels begin to sing a different song as they move from earth to stone. The sound is hollower, more resonant, echoing off the water below. It's like entering a cathedral, a sacred space where even the sounds are different. You're on the bridge now, and on both sides, water stretches away. For this moment, you're floating, suspended, part of the night sky and part of the lake, neither fully of earth nor fully of heaven. It's a liminal space, a threshold, and there's magic in it. Looking down through your window, you can see the train's reflection in the dark water, a mirror image traveling in the opposite direction. Two trains, one solid and one made of light and shadow, passing each other in the night. You wonder which one is real, and then realize they both are, each in their own way. The bridge is longer than you expected, or perhaps time has stretched again. The sound of the wheels continues their hollow song, and it's beautiful, mournful in a peaceful way, like a lullaby sung in a minor key. It speaks of journeys and destinations, of crossing from one place to another, of the spaces in between where transformation happens. Beneath the water, deep below the train, fish are sleeping in the dark. You can't see them, but you know they're there, suspended in their own dreams, rocking with a gentle current. The thought comforts you, that sleep is happening everywhere, in every form, that the whole world knows how to rest. The bridge's stone walls pass by your window, old and solid and patient. Someone built this bridge long ago, laying stone on stone, creating something that would last, something that would carry travelers safely over water for years and years to come. You're grateful to those builders, those long-ago workers who never knew that one night you would ride a midnight train across their bridge, watching moonlight dance on water. And then, gradually, the hollow sound begins to change. Solid ground approaches. The train moves from stone back to earth, and the rhythm shifts again, becomes rooted, grounded. You've crossed the water, completed the passage, and now the train continues along the far shore. The lake is still beside you, but it's changing now, narrowing, beginning its transformation into a river. The shore comes closer on both sides. Trees lean over the water, their branches creating archways of shadow and moonlight. The train slides beneath them, and for moments at a time, you're in darkness, only to emerge again into the moon's gentle illumination. Your head rests against the high back of your chair. You hadn't noticed yourself settling deeper, but you have. Your body has melted into the velvet, your muscles have released their grip, your bones have surrendered to gravity. You're being held, by the chair, by the train, by the night itself. Through half-closed eyes, you watch as the lake becomes a river, watch as the landscape shifts and changes, watch as the night reveals one beautiful secret after another. Your breathing is so slow now, so deep and peaceful. Each exhale carries away a little more wakefulness. Each inhale brings in a little more peace. The river is narrower now, moving faster, its surface catching the light in different ways. Where the lake was smooth, the river dances. Small rapids appear, white water foaming over rocks, the sound reaching you as a distant whisper. The train follows the river's curves, winding with it through the landscape, two travelers on the same journey, keeping each other company through the night. A waterfall appears ahead, not a large one, but tall and narrow, water cascading down a cliff face in a silvered ribbon. The train passes so close you can feel the mist on the air coming through the open window, cool and fresh and clean. It touches your face like a blessing, like a gentle hand smoothing away the last traces of the day's concerns. And then the waterfall is behind you, and the river widens again, calms again, becomes a steady companion once more. The train's rhythm continues unchanged, patient, eternal, carrying you deeper into the night, further into peace, closer to the soft and gentle country where sleep lives. Your eyes close, not in sleep yet, but in rest, in trust, in the sweet surrender of letting yourself be carried through this beautiful, peaceful, perfect night. When you open your eyes again, and you're not sure how much time has passed, only that it feels exactly right, the landscape has transformed once more. The train is descending now, moving down a gentle grade into a valley, and what you see takes your breath away in the quietest, most peaceful way possible. The valley spreads wide below you, a great basin cradled between dark hills on either side. But it's not the shape of the valley that captures your attention. It's what fills it. Mist. The entire valley floor is covered in a layer of mist, thick and soft as cotton, glowing silver-white in the moonlight. It looks like a lake made of cloud, like the sky has fallen to earth and is resting there, waiting. The mist isn't still. It moves slowly, rolling, undulating, breathing. Tendrils of it rise and dissipate, only to be replaced by others. It's alive in its way, this mist, dancing its slow dance in the valley below. The train continues its descent, winding down the hillside on tracks that curve back and forth, like a ribbon laid carefully down the slope. Through your window, you can see both ahead and behind, can see the train itself curving, the lighted windows of other carriages glowing warm against the night. You're part of something larger, you realize, part of this beautiful serpent of light and warmth making its way through the darkness. As you descend, you pass through different layers of air. The temperature changes subtly, cooler, then warmer, then cool again. The scents change too. Now it's pine you smell, sharp and clean. Then something floral, delicate and sweet. Then earth and moss, and the particular freshness that comes from high places. The stars above are extraordinary. Away from any city lights, unmarred by any pollution, they scatter across the sky in such profusion that you can hardly see the darkness between them. The Milky Way stretches overhead like a river of light, and you understand suddenly why ancient people thought it was a path, a road, a bridge between worlds. It looks like something you could walk on, something that might hold your weight if you could only reach it. Lower now. Lower. The mist in the valley rises to meet you, or perhaps you're falling to meet it. The perspective shifts and blurs in the most pleasant way. The train slides into the mist like a ship entering harbor, and suddenly you're surrounded by it. It presses against your window, obscures the view, turns the world into a soft, white cocoon. Inside the mist, everything is muffled. The sound of the wheels on the rails becomes softer, more distant, like hearing music from another room. The light from the carriage reflects back from the mist, creating a gentle golden glow all around you. You're floating now, suspended in whiteness, held safe in this cloud that's come to earth. It's like being inside a dream. All reference points have disappeared. There's no up or down, no before or behind, only this soft, encompassing whiteness and the gentle motion of the train. Your body seems lighter somehow, as if the mist has lifted some invisible weight from your shoulders, your chest, your thoughts. You sink deeper into your velvet chair, and it receives you with perfect acceptance. Your spine curves into comfort, your neck finds support, your legs stretch out and relax completely. Every muscle in your body seems to understand that it can let go now, that it's safe to release, that the train will carry you and the chair will hold you and the mist will cradle you all. Through the mist, shapes occasionally appear, the dark silhouette of a tree, looming and then disappearing. A boulder by the trackside, ancient and moss-covered, there for a moment and then swallowed by white again. A fence running parallel to the tracks, its posts appearing one by one like notes in a slow, steady song. Time in the mist is even stranger than time by the lake. There's no way to measure it, no way to mark its passing. Are you in the mist for moments or hours? Have you traveled a mile or 10? The questions arise and drift away, unimportant, like thoughts do when you're falling asleep. The other passengers in the carriage have become even more indistinct, soft shapes in the misty light. You can hear someone breathing deeply, steadily, asleep perhaps, or very near to it. The sound is comforting, rhythmic, another layer in the symphony of peaceful sounds that surrounds you. Your own breathing has matched the train's rhythm so completely now that you can't tell where one ends and the other begins. Breathe in as the wheels roll forward. Breathe out as they touch the rails. Breathe in with the gentle sway to the left. Breathe out with the sway to the right. You and the train, breathing together, moving together, existing together in this soft, white world. Gradually, so gradually you almost don't notice, the mist begins to thin. It doesn't disappear all at once, but slowly, slowly, like curtains being drawn back by an invisible hand. Wisps of it cling to the windows, reluctant to let you go, and then they too fade away. You're on the valley floor now, you realize. The land is flat here, stretching away on both sides of the track. And what you see makes you catch your breath again, makes you lean closer to the window to be sure you're seeing what you think you're seeing. Flowers. The entire valley floor is carpeted with flowers, acre upon acre of them, stretching away into the distance. Even in the moonlight, you can see their colors, pale blues and soft purples, whites and silvers and the faintest hints of pink. They sway together in the gentle breeze, all moving as one, a sea of petals and stems and living beauty. These are night-blooming flowers, you understand. Flowers that open their petals to the moon instead of the sun, that save their beauty for the darkness, for travelers like you who journey when others sleep. The scent of them pours through the open window, sweet but not cloying, fresh but not sharp, perfectly balanced, perfectly beautiful. The train moves through this ocean of flowers, and they part before it like water, closing again in its wake. Occasionally, a petal, caught by the breeze, floats past your window, dancing in the light before spinning away into darkness. You watch one, then another, then lose count as more and more rise up in the train's passing, a spiral of pale colors against the night. In the distance, you can see the valley's far side, hills rising dark against the stars. The train is heading toward them, but there's no hurry. The night is long, and the valley is wide, and there are so many flowers still to pass through. You let your eyes close again, but the scent of the flowers remains, filling your lungs with each breath, perfuming your thoughts, sweetening your slow drift towards sleep. When you look again, you're approaching a small grove of trees in the middle of the flower field. They're old trees, gnarled and twisted in beautiful ways, their branches spread wide to create a canopy of leaves that rustles softly in the breeze. As the train passes beneath them, shadows and moonlight dapple your window in an ever-changing pattern. Light, dark, light, dark, light, dark. It's mesmerizing, hypnotic, like watching shadows dance on a bedroom wall when you were a child, safe in bed, drifting toward dreams. Beyond the grove, the flowers continue. Different varieties now, you think. Taller stems, different shapes to the petals, though still all in those soft, peaceful colors that belong to night. Here and there, pale moths flutter among the blooms, their wings catching the moonlight as they move from flower to flower. They're like small ghosts, like tiny spirits of the night, blessing each bloom they visit. The valley is singing, you realize, not with voices, but with presence. The flowers and the moths and the trees and the breeze and the earth itself, all of it creates a kind of music, a harmony so subtle and so perfect that you feel it more than hear it. It's the song of living things at peace, of a world at rest, of nature breathing slowly in the darkness. Your eyelids are so heavy now. Each time you blink, they want to stay closed a little longer. The train rocks you gently, side to side, side to side. The wheels sing their steady song. The flowers perfume the air. The moon pours its silver light over everything, blessing it all with gentle radiance. You let your head rest more fully against the chair back. You let your hands relax completely in your lap. You let your jaw soften, your brow unfurrow, your whole face settle into the expression of deep peace. The train carries you forward, through the valley of flowers, under the river of stars, into the heart of the quiet night. And somewhere, in the distance, getting closer with each moment, with each breath, with each gentle revolution of the wheels, is the country of sleep, that soft and welcoming land where all travelers eventually arrive, where rest and peace and gentle dreams are waiting. The train knows the way. It has made this journey countless times, has carried countless passengers to that peaceful destination. All you need to do is rest, and trust, and let yourself be carried there. The valley of flowers gradually gives way to something different. The train begins to climb again, gently, almost imperceptibly, and the flowers become sparser, replaced by tall grasses that bow and wave as you pass. Then the grasses yield to ferns, their fronds unfurling in elegant spirals, catching the moonlight on their delicate leaves. And then, like entering a great hall, the train moves into a forest. The trees rise up on both sides of the tracks, tall and straight and ancient. They're different from the trees you saw earlier. These are giants, their trunks wide enough that it would take several people with arms outstretched to encircle them. Their bark is rough and deeply furrowed, creating patterns that look like faces, like maps, like stories written in wood and time. The canopy overhead is thick, and suddenly the moonlight becomes fragmented, broken into thousands of pieces that filter down through the leaves. The light doesn't disappear, it transforms. It becomes dappled, soft, dancing. The entire forest floor is alive with these shifting patterns of light and shadow, and as the train moves through them, your carriage is filled with gentle, moving illumination. It's cooler here under the trees. Not cold, but refreshingly cool, like stepping into a cellar on a summer day. The air smells of earth and moss, of bark and leaves, of growing things and ancient soil. It's the smell of life, of cycles, of seasons turning and returning. Breathing it in, you feel connected to something older than yourself, something patient and enduring. The forest is not silent. Far from it. But the sounds it makes are peaceful, contemplative. Leaves rustle softly overhead, creating a whisper that never quite becomes words, but feels like it's trying to tell you something important, something comforting. The whisper rises and falls with the breeze, sometimes louder, sometimes softer, but always there, always gentle. An owl calls out from somewhere in the darkness between the trees. It's a low, mellow sound, hoo, 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 more like a question than a declaration. Another owl answers from farther away, and then a third, even more distant. They're talking to each other, these owls, keeping company in the night, and you're grateful to hear them, grateful to know that the forest is awake and alive and full of its own quiet activities. The tracks curve through the forest, following some ancient path, some route established long ago. Occasionally, you pass a clearing where moonlight pools on the forest floor, illuminating moss-covered stumps, fallen logs that have become homes for countless insects and small creatures, mushrooms growing in fairy rings. Each clearing is like a room in a vast house, and the train is taking you through them one by one, showing you the forest's secret spaces. In one clearing, a deer stands motionless, its head raised, ears alert. The train's light catches its eyes, and they glow green for a moment before the deer bounds away, graceful and silent, disappearing into the shadows. You smile, blessed by this brief encounter, grateful for this glimpse of the forest's shy inhabitants. Your breathing has become so slow, so deep. Each breath takes longer now, each inhale drawing in the forest's cool air, each exhale releasing it back, warmed by your body, carrying away any remaining tension or worry. Your chest rises and falls like gentle waves, like the breathing of the earth itself. The train's rhythm continues, steady as ever, but somehow it sounds different here in the forest. The trees seem to absorb some of the sound, to soften it, to wrap it in their wooden embrace. Da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. The wheels on the rails are almost like a heartbeat now, slow and steady and infinitely reassuring. Through the trees, you catch glimpses of the forest's deeper mysteries. A spring bubbling up from between rocks, its water dark and clear and cold. A boulder covered entirely in moss, looking like a sleeping giant, green and soft and patient. A fallen tree that has become a bridge over a small ravine, and crossing that bridge, a fox, its tail held high, its movements fluid and purposeful. The forest seems endless. Time has lost all meaning here, if it ever had any on this train. You might have been in the forest for 5 minutes or 5 hours. It doesn't matter. What matters is the peace that settles over you like a blanket, the deep sense of safety that comes from being surrounded by these ancient, patient trees. You think about the trees, about how long they've stood here. Some of them are hundreds of years old, perhaps even older. They were here before you were born, will be here long after you're gone. They've weathered storms and droughts, have seen countless seasons pass, have sheltered countless creatures. And now they shelter you, a traveler on a midnight train, and they do it without question, without judgment, simply because that's what trees do. They stand, and they shelter, and they endure. The thought is deeply comforting. You're part of something much larger than yourself, part of a world that goes on, that will continue regardless of your small worries and concerns. Your problems, which seemed so important hours ago, seem smaller here, more manageable, less pressing. The trees put everything into perspective. A small stream runs parallel to the tracks for a while, and you can hear it, a gentle burbling, water moving over stones, finding its way downhill with patient persistence. The sound blends with the whisper of the leaves, with the distant calls of the owls, with the rhythm of the train, creating a layered symphony of peace. Your eyes are closed more than they're open now. You're not fighting it anymore, not trying to stay alert. There's nothing you need to see, nothing you need to do. The train is carrying you, the forest is sheltering you, the night is holding you. All you need to do is rest. When you do open your eyes, the forest has changed slightly. The trees are spaced farther apart now, and between them you can see more of the sky, more stars peeking through. The canopy is thinning. You're approaching the far edge of the forest. You realize, though there's no hurry in the realization, no urgency. It's simply a fact, observed and noted and released. A rabbit hops across the tracks ahead, pausing to look back at the train with its large, dark eyes before continuing on its way into the underbrush. A nightingale sings its complex, beautiful song from a branch overhead, notes cascading and tumbling and rising again in patterns too intricate to follow, too lovely to do anything but appreciate. The train emerges from the forest gradually, the trees becoming smaller, younger, more widely spaced. Shrubs appear, then bushes, then open ground. The forest releases you gently, the way a mother might release a child, with love, with blessing, with the knowledge that you'll carry a piece of this peace with you wherever you go. And now you're in open countryside again, but it's different from before. The land here is gentler, more rolling, covered with short grass that looks silver in the moonlight. In the distance, you can see the dark shapes of hills, or perhaps mountains. It's hard to tell in the darkness, and it doesn't matter. The stars are brilliant here, even more so than in the valley. Without the trees to interrupt them, they stretch from horizon to horizon, a dome of light above you. You lean your head back against the chair and look up through the window at them, at these distant suns, these burning points of light that have been shining for millions of years, that will shine for millions more. You're so small, you think, and the thought isn't frightening. It's freeing. You're so small, and the universe is so vast, and yet here you are, safe on this train, traveling through the night, held and cared for and carried toward rest. Your smallness doesn't make you insignificant. It makes you part of something beautiful, something infinite, something that includes everything from the smallest flower in the valley to the farthest star in the sky. Your breath mingles with the night air. Your heartbeat echoes the rhythm of the rails. Your thoughts drift and scatter like leaves on water, each one floating away into the darkness, leaving you emptier, clearer, more at peace. The train carries you on, through the starlit fields, toward whatever comes next, toward whatever gentle wonders the night still has to reveal. And you trust it completely, trust the journey, trust the destination, trust that when you finally arrive at sleep, it will be as peaceful and as perfect as everything that came before. The open fields stretch on, peaceful and vast, and you settle even deeper into your chair, feeling your body become heavier, more relaxed, more willing to surrender to the gentle pull of sleep. The stars wheel slowly overhead, and the train rocks you with its steady, maternal rhythm. Then, in the distance, you see lights. Not electric lights, not the harsh white of modern illumination, but something softer, warmer, more alive. As the train draws closer, you lean forward slightly, just slightly, because even curiosity feels gentle here, and you see what they are. Lanterns. Hundreds of them, perhaps thousands, scattered across a vast meadow that spreads away from the tracks. They sit on the ground, these lanterns, small paper constructions glowing with warm candlelight, each one a tiny beacon in the darkness. They're arranged in no particular pattern, scattered randomly like stars that have fallen to earth and decided to stay. The train slows as it enters the meadow, as if it too wants to appreciate this sight, wants to give you time to take in the beauty of it. Through your window, you watch the lanterns pass by, each one perfect in its simplicity, rice paper stretched over a delicate frame, glowing from within with golden light. Some of the lanterns are white, some are soft colors, pale pink, light blue, gentle yellow. They bob slightly in the breeze, shifting and swaying, creating a field of moving light that looks almost liquid, like watching waves made of brightness rolling across the land. As you watch, you notice that some of the lanterns have writing on them, characters in an alphabet you don't recognize, or perhaps small drawings, a bird, a flower, a simple heart. Each lantern is unique, each one different, as if each one was made by different hands, for different reasons, with different hopes. There's something ceremonial about this place, something sacred, though you can't quite put your finger on what it is. It feels like a memorial, but not a sad one, more like a celebration, a remembrance, a way of marking something important with beauty and light. The train continues through the meadow, and you realize there are people here. Not many, but scattered throughout the field, walking slowly among the lanterns. Some are alone, some in pairs, some in small groups. They move with quiet purpose, stopping here and there to look at particular lanterns, occasionally kneeling to adjust one that has fallen over, sometimes just standing still and gazing at the sea of lights around them. No one looks at the train. They're absorbed in their own experiences, their own moments, their own connections to this place and these lights. The train is a quiet observer, carrying you through this scene without disturbing it, letting you witness without intruding. You notice an elderly couple, arm in arm, moving slowly between the lanterns. They stop at one, and the woman touches it gently, her hand resting on the paper for a long moment before they move on. There's tenderness in the gesture, and love, and something that might be sadness but also might be peace. You look away, feeling suddenly that you've witnessed something very private, very precious. The conductor appears beside your chair so quietly you don't hear them approach. They stand at the window, looking out at the lanterns with you. "The meadow of lanterns," they say softly. "People come here to remember, to honor, to let go." Each lantern carries a thought, a memory, a wish. They light them and leave them here, where the night can hold them gently. You nod, understanding without needing more explanation. There's beauty in this, you think, in marking what matters with light, in creating something beautiful to honor what you carry in your heart, in letting the darkness hold your brightness. "We pass through here every night," the conductor continues. "The lanterns are always here, though they're always different. New ones appear, old ones fade. It's always changing, always constant, like memory itself, perhaps." They smile at you, that warm, knowing smile, and then move on down the aisle, leaving you with the view, with the lanterns, with your own thoughts and feelings rising and falling like gentle waves. The meadow seems endless. The lanterns go on, a galaxy of small lights earthbound, a constellation made by human hands. Some burn brightly, their candles fresh. Others flicker, their flames low, soon to go out. And in that too there's beauty, there's truth, there's the natural way of things. Your eyes grow heavier. The lanterns blur slightly, their individual shapes softening into a general glow, a warm radiance that seems to fill the whole world. The train rocks you, and the lights sway, and everything moves together in a slow, hypnotic dance. You think about what you might write on a lantern, if you were walking in that meadow. What memory would you honor? What would you let go? What light would you add to all these lights? The thoughts drift through your mind, gentle and undemanding, not requiring answers, just being present and then floating away. In the distance, at the far edge of the meadow, you can see a small structure, a pavilion perhaps, or a shelter, its dark roof silhouetted against the stars. A few lanterns hang from its eaves, and beneath it, you can see the shapes of benches where people might sit and rest, might contemplate, might simply be in the presence of all this light. The train passes close to the pavilion, and you see an old man sitting alone on one of the benches, hands folded in his lap, face tilted upward toward the stars. He's perfectly still, perfectly peaceful, and you wonder what he's thinking, what he's remembering, what light he's added to this field of lights. Then the pavilion is behind you, and the lanterns continue, and the night holds it all with gentle care. A breeze picks up, and the lanterns respond, all of them swaying together like a field of wheat, like flowers bending in the wind. The effect is mesmerizing. Thousands of small lights moving in unison, creating patterns of brightness and shadow that shift and flow and transform. Some of the lanterns have begun to rise. Just a few at first. They lift from the ground, released by the breeze, and float upward into the night sky. They rise slowly, peacefully, carrying their small flames higher and higher until they look like new stars being born, joining the ancient ones above. You watch one lantern in particular as it rises. It spins slowly as it climbs, its light constant, its ascent steady. Higher and higher it goes, until you can barely distinguish it from the stars, until it becomes just another point of light in the vast darkness, indistinguishable from the eternal. More lanterns are rising now, dozens of them, released by the wind and rising into the night. It's like watching souls ascending, like watching thoughts and memories and wishes being carried upward to some place where they'll be held forever. The sight is beautiful beyond words, peaceful beyond description. Your breathing has synchronized with the movement of the lanterns, in as they sway one way, out as they sway back, in as one rises, out as it disappears into the stars. You're breathing with the meadow, with the night, with the world itself, all of you connected in this moment, all of you part of the same vast, gentle peace. The train begins to leave the meadow behind. The lanterns become fewer, more scattered, until finally there are just a few, then one, then none. But the memory of them remains, glowing in your mind, warm in your heart. You carry that light with you as the train continues, as the darkness deepens again, as the stars reclaim their dominion over the night. Your eyes close. The image of the lanterns is still there behind your eyelids, bright and beautiful and slowly fading, like the afterimage of staring at the sun. You don't try to hold on to it. You let it fade, let it become a memory, let it settle into that place inside you where all beautiful things go to be kept safe. The train rocks on. The wheels sing their steady song. The night holds you gently in its vast, dark hands. And somewhere ahead, growing closer with each passing moment, with each breath, with each gentle revolution of the wheels, is the destination you've been traveling toward all along. Sleep is near now. You can feel it waiting, patient and kind, ready to receive you when you're ready to arrive. There's no hurry. The journey itself is the gift. But sleep is there, whenever you need it, soft and welcoming and full of peace. The train knows. It has always known. And it carries you on, through the deep velvet night, toward that gentle country where all travelers find rest. The landscape shifts again, becoming softer, more cultivated. Fields appear, neatly bordered by low stone walls that have stood for generations. These are farmlands, tended and loved, resting now under the night sky. The soil is dark and rich, and here and there you can see the orderly rows of growing things, crops sleeping in the earth, waiting for morning, dreaming whatever dreams plants dream. The train follows the contours of the land, curving around hillsides, dipping through shallow valleys. The pace feels even slower now, more leisurely, as if the train itself is growing drowsy, as if it too is affected by the deep peace of this hour. Then, nestled in a fold of hills, you see it, a village. It's small, no more than 20 or 30 buildings clustered together, their rooftops dark against the starlit sky. Not a single light burns in any window. The village is deeply, completely asleep, surrendered entirely to the night, to rest, to the gentle embrace of darkness. The train slows even more as it passes through. The tracks run right alongside the main street, barely more than a lane, really, and you can see everything clearly in the moonlight. Stone cottages with thick walls and thatched roofs. A small church with a modest steeple, its bell silent now, waiting for morning. A village square with a fountain at its center, water trickling softly, barely audible. Everything here speaks of age and permanence and peace. These buildings have stood for hundreds of years, will stand for hundreds more. Generations have been born here, have lived here, have died here, and the village continues, patient and enduring, holding its inhabitants with the same gentle care that the night holds everything. You can see a bakery, its sign swinging slightly in the breeze. Bread and pastries. Tomorrow morning, before dawn, the baker will rise and light the ovens, and the smell of fresh bread will wake the village. But now everything is still. The ovens are cold, the baker is dreaming, and the village rests. Next to the bakery, a small shop with "Apothecary" written in elegant letters above the door. In the window you can see jars and bottles, dark shapes that during the day would be filled with colored liquids, dried herbs, remedies passed down through generations. But now they're just shadows, sleeping like everything else. A cat sits on a windowsill, the only waking thing in the entire village. Its eyes catch the light from the train, glowing green for a moment, and then it stretches, arching its back in that particularly feline way, before settling down again into a neat loaf shape. Even the cat seems drowsy, content to watch the train pass with half-closed eyes before returning to whatever meditation cats conduct in the deep of night. The train passes so quietly through the village, so respectfully, as if it knows not to disturb those who sleep. The sound of the wheels is muted, gentle, more like a whisper than the rhythmic song you've grown accustomed to. Even the train knows how to move through a sleeping place with care. You notice gardens behind the cottages, small plots where vegetables grow, where flowers bloom, where fruit trees spread their branches. Everything is tidy, well tended, loved. You can imagine the villagers during the day, working in these gardens, their hands in the soil, connected to the earth and to the cycle of seasons and to the ancient practice of growing food. A well stands in the village square, its stone rim worn smooth by countless hands over countless years. A wooden bucket sits beside it, waiting for morning when someone will lower it down into the cool darkness and draw up fresh, clear water. But now the well simply exists, patient and purposeful, holding its water deep below the earth where it's cold and pure and perfect. The church looks peaceful in the moonlight, its stone walls solid and reassuring. You imagine the interior, wooden pews worn smooth by generations of sitting, stained glass windows that would glow with color in daylight but are dark now, a simple altar, candles waiting to be lit. Places of worship always feel different at night, more intimate somehow, as if the divine comes closer when the world is quiet. Beyond the church, a small cemetery spreads up a gentle hillside. The headstones catch the moonlight, pale stones standing in neat rows, marking where the village's ancestors rest. It's not a sad sight, you realize. It's peaceful. Those who came before are still part of the village, still present in their way, sleeping their deep sleep while the village continues its life around them. The train is nearly through the village now, passing the last few cottages. In one window, a rocking chair sits empty, positioned to catch the afternoon sun. In another, you can see the shape of a clock on the mantel, its hands frozen at some hour you can't quite make out. Each house holds its own stories, its own memories, its own particular peace. A dog lies on a doorstep, its form a dark shape against the pale stone. It doesn't wake as the train passes, doesn't even stir. It's lost in its own dreams, perhaps chasing rabbits through endless fields, or perhaps dreaming of nothing at all, just existing in that deep, uncomplicated sleep that animals know so well. The last building you pass is the village inn, larger than the cottages, 3 stories tall, with a sign hanging above the door, "The Sleeping Shepherd." How perfect, you think. Even the inn's name speaks of rest, of peace, of the deep slumber that shepherds fall into after a long day watching their flocks. And then the village is behind you, receding into the darkness, its sleeping form held gently by the hills that surround it. You watch it disappear, feeling grateful to have witnessed it, to have seen this place of peace, this community surrendered to rest. The train picks up speed slightly, moving back into open country. The fields continue, but now they're pastures, and in them you can see the dark shapes of sheep, lying down, clustered together for warmth and safety. They're so still they might be stones, but occasionally one shifts, settling into a more comfortable position, and you know they're alive, just deeply, peacefully asleep. A shepherd's hut sits at the edge of one pasture, small and simple, its door closed, its single window dark. The shepherd is inside, you imagine, sleeping as deeply as the sheep, dreams of meadows and clouds and the slow turning of seasons filling their rest. Your own body feels heavy now, so heavy, as if you're made of the same substance as the sleeping village, as the dreaming sheep, as the patient earth itself. Your arms lie still in your lap, your legs are motionless, your head rests against the chair with complete trust. You're not fighting anything anymore, not fighting sleep, not fighting stillness, not fighting this gentle dissolution into peace. The train's rhythm has become part of your heartbeat, or perhaps your heartbeat has become part of the train's rhythm. It's impossible to tell where one ends and the other begins. Da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. The sound is inside you now, part of you as essential as breathing. Through half-closed eyes, you watch the pastoral landscape roll by. Stone walls dividing fields. A stream catching starlight. A lone tree standing sentinel on a hillside. Everything is so peaceful, so deeply at rest, and you're part of that rest now, woven into the fabric of this quiet night. The other passengers in the carriage are barely visible, mere suggestions of presence, and you suspect they're sleeping now, or very close to it. You can hear the soft sound of someone's breath, slow and even, the sound of a person deeply at peace. It's comforting, this shared journey into rest, this companionship of sleepers. Your eyes close again, and this time they stay closed. The darkness behind your eyelids is soft and warm, not frightening at all, but welcoming. Images drift past. The sleeping village, the meadow of lanterns, the forest of whispers, the moonlit lake. All the beautiful things you've seen tonight, all the peaceful places you've passed through, they're all there, gently glowing in your memory. The train carries you on, through the sleeping countryside, under the ancient stars, deeper and deeper into the night. And you surrender to it completely, trusting in the rails beneath you, in the steady engine pulling you forward, in the darkness that holds you safe. Sleep is so close now, just a breath away, just a heartbeat away, just a gentle letting go away. The train knows. It has always known, and it carries you there with infinite patience, infinite care, infinite love. The pastoral landscape continues for a time, gentle and rolling, lulling you deeper into that space between waking and sleeping where everything feels soft and dreamlike. The train rocks you with its steady rhythm, and your breathing grows slower still, each breath a journey in itself, in and out, like waves on a distant shore. Then the land begins to change. The fields give way to rockier ground, and the train starts to climb, winding its way up into higher country. The air grows cooler, crisper, carrying with it the scent of stone and altitude and the particular cleanness that comes from being far above the ordinary world. Through your window, you see that the landscape has transformed into something extraordinary. All around, for as far as you can see in the moonlight, stand formations of stone, great pillars and columns and balanced rocks, natural sculptures shaped by wind and rain over countless millennia. The Garden of Stone, you think, though no one has told you the name. It simply feels right. This is a garden, but one planted by time itself, tended by the elements, grown from the very bones of the earth. The stones are pale in the moonlight, white and grey and soft beige, with occasional streaks of rust red and deep brown. Some stand alone, solitary sentinels rising from the ground. Others cluster together in groups, like families, like friends gathered in conversation. Still others form archways and passages, creating doorways that lead nowhere and everywhere at once. The train moves slowly through this landscape, and the tracks weave between the stone formations with graceful precision, as if whoever laid these rails understood the sanctity of this place, the importance of moving through it with respect and care. The stones tower above the train on both sides, some as tall as buildings, their surfaces weathered and textured, holding stories written in mineral and time. You notice faces in some of the stones, not carved faces, but faces suggested by shadow and contour, by the random patterns of erosion. An old woman looking skyward, a child laughing, a wise elder with eyes that seem to see everything. The faces aren't really there, you know. They're products of the human tendency to find meaning in patterns, to see life in lifeless things. But they feel real nonetheless, feel watchful, feel benevolent. The silence here is profound. Even the train's wheels seem quieter, as if they too are awed by this place, by these ancient stones that have stood here since long before trains existed, since long before humans walked the earth. The only sound is the whisper of wind through the stone passages, a sound like breath, like the earth itself breathing slowly in and out. You pass beneath a natural arch, two great pillars of stone leaning toward each other and touching at the top, creating a gateway 30 feet high. For a moment, the stars disappear, blocked by the arch, and you're in shadow. Then you emerge on the other side, and the stars return, and it feels like a blessing, like passing through one state of being into another. The moon hangs large and luminous above the garden, and its light on the pale stones creates a landscape that seems almost otherworldly, almost like the surface of the moon itself. Long shadows stretch from each stone formation, and as the train moves, the shadows shift and dance, creating an ever-changing pattern of light and dark. In some places, the stones are smooth, polished by wind-blown sand over eons. In others, they're rough and pitted, creating textures that catch the light in interesting ways. Some stones are layered, showing the strata of their formation, different colors stacked like pages in a book, each layer a different era, a different age of the earth. A formation passes by that looks exactly like a mushroom, a narrow stem supporting a much wider cap. You've seen pictures of such formations. Know they're created when softer stone erodes away beneath harder stone, leaving these impossible-looking structures. But seeing one in person, in moonlight, while resting on a train that travels only at night, makes it feel magical, like something from a fairy tale. Your body has melted completely into the chair now. You're barely aware of where you end and the chair begins. Your muscles have released every bit of tension, every tiny holding. You're draped over the seat like a cloth, supported completely, held entirely, needing to do nothing, to be nothing except present, aware, peacefully existing in this moment. The train passes through a narrow canyon between two massive stone walls. The walls rise sheer on either side, and looking up, you see just a ribbon of star-filled sky overhead. The canyon amplifies the sound of the train, creates echoes that bounce back and forth between the walls. It's like traveling through the body of some great instrument, and the train's passage creates music, deep, resonant, ancient. Emerging from the canyon, the landscape opens up again, and you see more wonders. A stone that looks like a ship, complete with a prow and a stern. A formation that resembles a cathedral, with spires reaching toward the sky. A cluster of rounded stones that might be eggs laid by some enormous prehistoric creature, waiting to hatch. An owl sits atop one of the stone pillars, its silhouette sharp against the stars. It watches the train pass with the patient intensity that owls have, turning its head in that disconcerting way that makes it seem like the head moves independently of the body. You watch it watching you, and for a moment, your eyes meet across the distance. Then the train moves on, and the owl remains, eternal guardian of this garden of stone. The conductor appears again, moving through the carriage with their characteristic quiet grace. They pause near your seat, looking out at the stone formations. "Remarkable, isn't it?" they say softly. "These stones have been here for millions of years. They'll be here for millions more." It puts everything in perspective. You nod, understanding. In the presence of such age, such permanence, your own life seems like a brief spark, but not in a way that makes you feel insignificant. Rather, it makes you feel part of something vast, something that includes everything from the briefest mayfly to the most ancient stone, all of it connected, all of it part of the same great pattern. "People come here to think," the conductor continues, "to contemplate, to remember what's important. The stones don't judge. They simply stand and witness. They've seen everything, storms and droughts, ice ages and warm periods, the rise and fall of countless species. And through it all, they endure." The conductor smiles at you, that gentle, knowing smile, and moves on. You return your gaze to the window, to the passing stones, and you feel something inside you settling, like sediment drifting to the bottom of a clear pool, leaving the water above calm and transparent. A small plant grows in a crack in one of the stones. You see it in the train's light as you pass. Just a tiny thing, a few green leaves, surviving in impossible conditions with minimal soil and water. Life finds a way, you think. Even in the hardest places, even in the most unlikely spots, life persists, adapts, endures. The garden of stone seems endless, but of course it isn't. Nothing is endless except perhaps time itself, and even that is uncertain. The formations begin to change, becoming smaller, more scattered. The train is descending now, you realize, leaving the high country, returning to lower elevations. The last formation you see is perhaps the most beautiful, a natural bridge spanning a narrow gorge, its arch perfect, its stone warm-colored even in the moonlight. The train passes beneath it, and you look up through your window at the underside of the bridge, at the stone that has held itself in that impossible position for thousands upon thousands of years. And then the garden is behind you, and the land becomes softer again, gentler. Soil replaces stone. Grass returns. The air grows warmer, loses that crisp edge of altitude. But the feeling the stones gave you remains, that sense of perspective, of being part of something vast and ancient and ongoing. Your eyes are closed now, have been closed for some time, though you don't remember closing them. Behind your eyelids, you see the stones still, pale and luminous, standing eternal. The images fade slowly, gently, like mist burning off in morning sun, and what's left is just a feeling of peace, of rightness, of being exactly where you need to be. The train carries you on, down from the high places, back toward the lowlands, deeper into the night. The rhythm continues, steady and sure. Da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. Your heartbeat, your breathing, the pulse of the world itself. Sleep is closer now than ever, just beyond the next curve, just past the next gentle hill, just a little further down these tracks that stretch away into the soft, welcoming darkness. The train knows the way. It has always known, and it carries you there with patience and care, through the deep velvet night, toward the peaceful country where all travelers eventually arrive. The land becomes gentler as the train descends, rolling and soft, covered with that particular lushness that speaks of good soil and adequate rain and the careful attention of human hands. You're in cultivated country again, but different from the farmland near the sleeping village. This feels older somehow, more established, as if generations have poured their love into this earth. And then you smell it. Even before you see them, you smell them. Fruit trees. The scent comes through the open window, sweet and complex, carrying notes of apple and pear, of cherry and plum, of all the fruits that grow on trees and ripen in their own time. It's the smell of orchards, of abundance, of harvest and plenty and the earth's generous gifts. The train curves, and suddenly they're all around you. Trees. Hundreds of them, perhaps thousands, stretching away in neat rows on both sides of the tracks. An orchard, vast and ancient, planted by hands long gone but still bearing fruit, still offering its gifts to the world. Even in the moonlight, you can see the fruit hanging heavy on the branches. Apples, mostly. You can tell by the shape of the trees, by the round forms of the fruit catching the light. Some branches hang so low with the weight of their burden that they nearly touch the ground, creating archways beneath which the moonlight pools. The trees are old. You can see it in the thickness of their trunks, in the gnarled texture of their bark, in the way their branches spread with the confidence of decades. These are trees that have seen many seasons, many harvests, many years of sun and rain and snow and spring. Between the rows of trees, the grass grows thick and soft, scattered with fallen fruit. Some of the apples lie half buried in the grass, return to the earth that grew them, feeding the soil that will feed future trees, future fruit. It's the cycle of giving and receiving, of growth and decay and growth again, all happening slowly, naturally, perfectly. The train slows, not to a stop, but to a gentle pace, a walking speed, as if it wants to honor this place, wants to give you time to appreciate the orchard in all its moonlit beauty. The rhythm of the wheels changes to match the slower speed, becomes more of a heartbeat than a song. Thump thump, thump thump, thump thump. You notice that some of the trees are in bloom. Impossible, you think. Trees don't fruit and bloom at the same time. But this is the night train, and normal rules don't always apply here. White blossoms glow among the dark leaves and round fruit, creating a vision that belongs more to dream than to waking reality. Blossom and fruit together, promise and fulfillment existing in the same moment. A ladder leans against one tree, forgotten perhaps, or waiting for morning when someone will climb it to pick the highest fruit. It's old wood, worn smooth by use, and in the moonlight it looks almost like a pathway, a stairway leading up into the branches, into the leaves, into some secret place where the fruit grows sweetest. The scent of the orchard is almost overwhelming now, not in an unpleasant way, but in its richness, its depth, its complexity. Underneath the sweetness of the fruit, you can smell earth and grass, wood and leaves, and something else, something indefinable that might just be the smell of growth itself, of life persisting and thriving and offering its abundance. Your breathing draws the scent deep into your lungs, and with each breath you feel more relaxed, more at peace, as if the orchard's sweetness is seeping into your body, into your bones, replacing anything harsh or bitter or difficult with something gentle and good. Through the trees, you catch glimpses of the sky, of the stars scattered like seeds across the darkness. The branches frame the stars in ever-changing patterns as the train moves, creating windows that open and close, that reveal and conceal, that make art of simple geometry and space. A shape moves in the orchard, an animal of some kind, probably a deer come to eat the fallen fruit. It moves between the trees with fluid grace, pausing to lower its head, to eat, to look around with large, alert eyes. The train passes close enough that you can see it clearly. A doe, her coat silver-brown in the moonlight, her movements calm and unhurried. She watches the train pass without fear, as if she knows this train, as if she's seen it many times before in her nightly wanderings through the orchard. Other animals must come here too, you think. Raccoons and possums, foxes and rabbits, birds by day and creatures of the night when the sun sets. The orchard feeds them all, offers its fruit to whoever is hungry, asks nothing in return. There's generosity in that, a kind of grace that makes your heart feel full. An old stone wall runs along one edge of the orchard, marking some boundary, separating this land from the next. The wall is covered with moss and lichen, green and grey and pale yellow, and wildflowers grow in the cracks between the stones. Small flowers, delicate and hardy, content with the small amount of soil they found. The train passes an old barn or storage shed, its wood weathered to silver grey, its door hanging slightly ajar. Through the opening, you can see wooden crates stacked inside, waiting to be filled with fruit, to be carried to market, to bring the orchard's sweetness to distant tables. But now they wait, empty and patient, knowing their time will come. A single tree stands apart from the others, larger and older, positioned at a crossroads in the orchard where several paths meet. Its branches spread so wide that they create a canopy, a sheltered space beneath them. In daylight, you imagine, this would be a perfect spot to rest, to escape the sun, to sit and think while surrounded by the orchard's peace. Now, in moonlight, it looks like a guardian, like a grandfather tree watching over all its descendants. Your head rests so heavily against the chair now. Your body has surrendered completely to gravity, to the support of the velvet seat, to the gentle motion of the train. You're aware of your breathing and little else. In and out, slow and peaceful, each breath carrying you deeper into rest. The orchard begins to thin. The trees become more scattered, with wider spaces between them. Young trees now, you notice, saplings, really, their trunks slender, their branches reaching upward with the enthusiasm of youth. Someone is renewing the orchard, planting new trees to replace the old ones that will eventually fall, ensuring that this place will continue, that future travelers on future trains will pass through an orchard heavy with fruit. There's hope in those young trees, you think. Hope and faith. Faith that the future will come, that these saplings will grow tall and strong, that they'll bear fruit for people not yet born, for journeys not yet taken. It's a gift sent forward in time, and the thought of it makes you smile, makes you feel connected to something larger than yourself. The last tree you see is one of the young ones, barely more than a stick, really, supported by stakes, carefully tended. But even this small tree has 2 apples growing on it, 2 perfect fruits that catch the moonlight. Even in its youth, it's already giving what it can, already fulfilling its purpose, already offering its gifts to the world. And then the orchard is behind you, and you're in open country again. But the sweetness remains, in the air, in your lungs, in your memory. The scent of apples and blossoms lingers, mingles with the night air, becomes part of the atmosphere of peace that surrounds you. Your eyes are closed. You don't remember closing them, but they're closed now, and opening them seems impossible, unnecessary. Behind your closed lids, you can still see the orchard, the rows of trees, the hanging fruit, the blossoms glowing white in the moonlight. The image is soft, dreamlike, already half forgotten and half remembered. The train continues its journey, carrying you through the night, and you're so deeply relaxed now that you're barely aware of the motion anymore. The rocking has become part of you, or you've become part of the rocking. The boundary between self and train, between passenger and journey, has blurred into something soft and undefined and peaceful. Sleep is so close now, closer than breath, closer than heartbeat, just a whisper away, just a gentle letting go away. The orchard gave you its sweetness, and now you carry that sweetness with you into the deep, soft darkness where dreams grow like fruit on trees, where rest ripens and becomes complete. The train knows. It has always known, and it carries you there, through the endless gentle night, with infinite patience and infinite care, toward that place of perfect rest where all travelers are welcome, where all wanderers find home. Time has become liquid, flowing around you rather than through you, and you float in it peacefully, aware but not attached, present but not grasping. The train carries you onward, and the landscape continues to unfold, each new vista a gift, each moment a small eternity. The land is flattening now, becoming level, and in the distance you can see something that catches the moonlight and throws it back. Water again, but different from the lake you saw earlier. This is smaller, more intimate, perfectly round like a mirror dropped by some giant and left to lie where it fell. As the train approaches, you see that the lake is indeed circular, its shoreline smooth and even, surrounded by a ring of white sand that glows pale in the moonlight. The water is so still, so absolutely motionless, that it reflects everything above it with perfect clarity. The stars, the moon, the wispy clouds that drift across the sky, all are duplicated in the water's surface, creating a world above and a world below, identical and separate, both equally real. The train curves to follow the lake's shore, and now you're traveling alongside this perfect circle of water, close enough to see every detail. The sand is fine and unmarked. No footprints, no disturbance, just smooth whiteness that seems to glow with its own light. It looks soft, inviting, like something you could sink into and be embraced by. The reflection in the water is so perfect that it's disorienting. Looking at it, you can't quite tell which is real, the sky above or the sky below. The moon hangs in the darkness above, but there's another moon in the water, equally bright, equally perfect. Two moons for the price of one, you think, and the thought makes you smile softly. The train slows even more, moving at barely a walking pace now, and in the deep silence you can hear the water. It's not entirely still after all. There's the faintest lapping at the shore, the softest whisper of water meeting sand, a sound so quiet it's more felt than heard. It's like the lake is breathing, or perhaps like the earth itself is breathing, and the water is simply responding to that vast, slow respiration. A single dock extends out into the water, a simple wooden structure, old and weathered, with no boat tied to it, no equipment, no sign of use. It exists purely to provide a place to stand, to look out over the water, to be suspended between earth and reflection. At the end of the dock, a lantern hangs from a post, unlit but somehow suggesting warmth, suggesting that at any moment someone might light it and dispel the darkness. But no one does. The lantern remains dark, and the darkness remains complete except for the moonlight, and the moonlight is enough. More than enough. It turns the whole scene into something from a dream, something too perfect to be entirely real, but too beautiful to be anything other than true. Your reflection must be in the water too, you realize. As the train passes alongside the lake, your window faces the water, and somewhere in that perfect mirror surface is the image of you, sitting in your velvet chair, looking out at the night. The thought is strange and comforting at once. There are two of you now, one solid and one made of light, one traveling and one still, both existing in this moment, both part of the same peaceful now. A bird flies across the sky. You see it and its reflection simultaneously, the real bird above and the reflected bird below, both moving in perfect synchronization. They meet at the horizon, at that line where sky meets water, and for a moment you can't tell which is which is the original and which is the copy. Does it matter? Both are beautiful. Both are real in their way. The conductor appears beside you again, moving so quietly you didn't hear them approach. They stand at the window, looking out at the mirror lake with you, and for a long moment neither of you speaks. There's no need for words. The lake says everything that needs to be said. Finally, the conductor speaks, their voice barely above a whisper. The mirror lake. Some people say it shows you not just your reflection, but the reflection of your soul. Others say it shows you not who you are, but who you might become. And some say it simply shows you the truth, that everything is doubled, that for every up there's a down, for every light a shadow, and that both are necessary, both are beautiful. You nod, understanding in that wordless way that comes when something resonates deep in your core, when truth speaks to truth without needing language. The conductor continues. Many travelers ask me what they should wish for when they see the mirror lake. I tell them they shouldn't wish for anything at all. Just look. Just witness. Just be present with the beauty of it. That's enough. They smile at you, pat your shoulder gently, a gesture of comfort, of connection, and move on down the carriage. You remain at the window, watching the lake slide past, watching the perfect reflections shimmer and hold. The shoreline is entirely empty. No trees, no buildings, no signs of human presence except for that single dock and its unlit lantern. Just the ring of white sand and then, beyond it, grass, dark in the moonlight, stretching away into the distance. The emptiness isn't lonely. It's peaceful, pure, like a blank page waiting for a poem, like a canvas waiting for paint, like a silence waiting to be filled with exactly the right music. You notice that your breathing has synchronized with the gentle lapping of the water on the shore, in with the approach of the tiny waves, out with their retreat, in with the giving, out with the receiving. Your chest rises and falls with the rhythm of the lake, and you're connected to it now, part of it, breathing with it, existing with it in this moment of perfect peace. The train continues its slow circuit of the lake, and you watch the angle of the reflections change. Now the moon is directly in the center of the water, a perfect white circle, and the train's light joins it, creating a second source of illumination, warmer and more golden. The two lights, moon and train, meet in the water and blend together, creating colors that shouldn't exist, shadows that fall in impossible directions. A shooting star streaks across the sky, brief, brilliant, gone in an instant. And in the water, its reflection does the same, a twin streak of light, and you see both simultaneously, above and below, doubling the beauty, doubling the magic. You make a wish without meaning to, some wordless desire for peace, for rest, for this moment to last forever, and then you release the wish into the night, let it go like releasing a balloon, watching it float away into the darkness. Your eyelids are so heavy now, heavier than they've ever been. Each blink takes more effort than the last, and keeping your eyes open feels like lifting weights, like pushing against a gentle but insistent pressure. You're not fighting it anymore. There's no reason to fight it. Sleep is calling to you, and you're ready to answer. The train completes its circuit of the lake and begins to move away, the perfect mirror surface gradually receding behind you. You watch it grow smaller, watch the reflections shrink, watch the two moons, the one above and the one below, separate as the angle changes. And then the lake is just a distant gleam, a memory, a dream you might have had. But the feeling it gave you remains, that sense of doubling, of symmetry, of everything being balanced and right. The feeling sinks into you, settles into your bones, becomes part of you. You carry the mirror lake with you now, will always carry it, in that place inside where beautiful things are kept safe. Your head tilts further back against the chair. Your hands lie completely still in your lap, fingers relaxed and slightly curled. Your legs are motionless, your feet resting comfortably on the carpeted floor. Every part of your body has found its position, its place of rest, and now remains there, content, peaceful, requiring nothing. The train picks up speed slightly, moving away from the lake, moving deeper into the night. The rhythm returns to its earlier pace, da-dum, 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 and the sound is so familiar now, so much a part of your experience, that you barely hear it anymore. It's just there, constant and reliable, like your own heartbeat, like the turning of the earth, like all the rhythms that underlie existence and hold everything together. The landscape outside is dark now, darker than it's been before. You're passing through country where no features stand out, where everything blends into shadow and softness. It's like traveling through the space between dreams, through the pause between thoughts, through that place of pure potential where anything might emerge but nothing has to. Your breathing is so slow now, so deep. Each breath takes long seconds to complete. In, hold, out, hold, in again. The pauses between breaths grow longer, more spacious, and in those pauses there's nothing, just stillness, just peace, just the awareness of being alive and present and safe. Sleep is here now, not coming, not approaching, but here, present, surrounding you like water, like air, like the night itself. You're on the edge of it, balanced on that threshold between waking and sleeping, and any moment now you'll tip over, you'll fall gently into that soft darkness, and it will receive you with perfect acceptance. The train carries you on, through the deep and endless night, and you trust it completely. Trust the rails beneath, trust the engine ahead, trust the darkness all around. Trust that sleep will come when it comes, that rest will find you when you're ready, that everything is exactly as it should be. And in the window's reflection, barely visible now, just the faintest suggestion of an image, you see yourself, eyes closed, face peaceful, body relaxed. You see yourself sleeping, or nearly sleeping, and the image comforts you, confirms that what you feel is real, that the peace you're experiencing is true. The train knows the way. It has always known. And it carries you there, through the mirror of night, through the reflection of peace, toward that place where all travelers eventually arrive, where rest is complete and dreams are sweet and gentle. The darkness gradually lightens, not with dawn. The night is still deep, still hours from morning, but with a subtle change in the quality of the air, the texture of the world. The train moves through country that feels open, expansive, unconfined by walls or trees or any barrier to the wind. And then you see it, grass. But not the manicured lawns of the village or the short grass of the pastures. This is tall grass, wild grass, prairie grass that grows as high as a person's chest, perhaps higher. It stretches away on both sides of the tracks as far as you can see, an ocean of vegetation that moves with the breeze, creating waves and patterns that flow across the landscape like water. The grass is pale in the moonlight, silver and gold and soft grey-green, and it ripples constantly, never still, always moving, always responding to the invisible currents of air that flow across the open land. Watching it is hypnotic. The waves move in overlapping patterns, some fast and some slow, some rolling from left to right and others from right to left, creating a complexity of motion that the eye can follow but the mind cannot quite comprehend. The train moves through this sea of grass, and the grass parts before it, bends away from the tracks, creating a corridor of motion on either side. The sound of the grass is new, a soft susurration, a whisper that rises and falls with the wind, like countless voices all speaking at once in a language just beyond understanding. You can smell the grass through the open window, a clean, green smell, earthy and alive, the smell of growing things and sun-warmed soil and rain absorbed into roots and leaves. It's a primal smell, something ancient, something that speaks to a part of you that remembers when all the world was grassland, when humans walked through landscapes exactly like this, when the horizon was always far away and the sky was always vast. The wind picks up slightly, and the grass responds, the waves becoming larger, more pronounced. The whole field seems to be breathing now, expanding and contracting, rising and falling like the chest of some great sleeping creature. And perhaps it is. Perhaps the earth itself is alive and sleeping, and the grass is just its surface, moving with its slow, deep breaths. Your own breathing has become part of this rhythm. You breathe with the grass, with the wind, with the earth, in when the grass leans away from you, out when it leans toward you, in when the waves roll past, out when they return. Your breath and the world's breath, synchronized, connected, one. A path appears in the grass. Narrow, barely visible, just a slight compression of the tall stems showing where something has passed recently. A deer, perhaps, or a coyote, or some other creature that calls this grassland home. The path winds away from the tracks, disappearing into the waving stems, leading nowhere you can see, coming from nowhere you can identify. It's just there, evidence of passage, proof that others travel through this place, finding their own ways, following their own routes. The stars above are incredible here in the open. With no trees, no buildings, nothing to obstruct the view, the sky seems even larger than before, even more filled with light. The Milky Way stretches directly overhead, a river of stars flowing from one horizon to the other, and you tilt your head back to look at it, to lose yourself in its vastness. How many stars? Millions? Billions? Numbers lose meaning when confronted with such abundance. Each point of light is a sun, potentially with planets, perhaps with life, all of them unimaginably distant, all of them shining here in this moment, their light traveling for years or centuries or millennia to reach your eyes right now, here on this train, in this field of grass. The thought should make you feel small, insignificant, lost. But it doesn't. Instead, it makes you feel connected, part of something vast and beautiful and mysterious. You're made of stardust, you remember reading once, literally made of elements forged in the hearts of ancient stars that exploded long before the Earth existed. You're not separate from the stars. You're part of them. They're part of you. All of it connected, all of it one. Your eyes close again, and behind your eyelids you can still see the grass, still see it waving, still feel its motion. The image persists, gentle and rhythmic, like watching waves from a beach, like watching clouds drift across the sky. It's the kind of image that invites sleep, that makes sleep seem natural, inevitable, right? The train's motion through the grass creates a different sound than it has before, a softer sound, cushioned by the vegetation, dampened by the living things that surround the tracks. Even the wheels seem quieter here, their song muted to a gentle murmur. Everything is soft, everything is yielding, everything is gentle. You become aware of insects, not seeing them, but hearing them. Crickets, certainly, their rhythmic chirping a constant presence. And other sounds too, clicks and buzzes and chirrs that create a symphony of small voices, a chorus of tiny lives all singing their existence into the night. It's not loud, not overwhelming, just a gentle background texture that makes the silence richer, deeper, more alive. A firefly blinks into existence outside your window, a single point of yellow-green light appearing, holding for a moment, disappearing. Then another, and another. Soon there are dozens of them, hundreds perhaps, scattered through the grass like earthbound stars, like tiny lanterns, blinking on and off in their own mysterious rhythms. They create constellations in the grass, patterns that form and dissolve and form again, and watching them is like watching thoughts drift through your mind, appearing, existing, fading away. The grass begins to change. Not dramatically, but gradually, subtly. Mixed in with the tall stems now are other plants, wildflowers, you think, though it's hard to see their colors in the moonlight. They appear as darker shapes among the grass, small points of variation in the silver-gold sea. Some are tall, reaching up to catch the moonlight. Others hide lower, sheltered by the grass, visible only when the wind parts the stems just right. Your body has become so heavy, so deeply relaxed, that moving seems impossible. You're not paralyzed. You could move if you needed to, if you wanted to, but there's no desire to do so, no reason to disturb the perfect peace of your stillness. You're exactly where you need to be, positioned exactly as you should be, and movement would only break the spell, would only disturb the deep, gentle rest that's settling over you like a blanket. The train continues through the endless grass, and time continues its strange elasticity. Have you been in the grassland for minutes or hours? Is the night half over or just beginning? The questions arise and drift away, unimportant, released like balloons into the sky. Time is happening, certainly, but it's happening somewhere else, to someone else. Here now, there's only the present moment, stretching out in all directions, spacious and peaceful and complete. A low hill appears ahead, rising gently from the flat grassland, its slope covered with the same tall grass that surrounds you. The train begins to climb, the engine pulling steadily, unhurried, patient. The angle is gentle, you barely feel it, but the perspective changes, and now you're rising above the sea of grass, able to see farther, able to take in more of this vast, open landscape. From this height, you can see how the wind moves across the grass, can see the patterns it creates on a larger scale. Waves flow across the land like ripples on water, sweeping from one horizon to the other, beautiful and ephemeral and constantly changing. It's like watching weather itself, watching the invisible made visible through its effects on the world. The hill's crest approaches, and for a moment you're at the highest point, able to see in all directions. Grassland everywhere, rolling away to distant horizons, silver and soft under the moon. The sky enormous above, the earth enormous below, and you suspended between them, held safe on this train, this moving sanctuary that carries you through the night. And then you're descending the other side of the hill, moving down into the grass again, the perspective closing in, the world becoming more intimate. The grass closes around you once more, and it feels like being embraced, like being welcomed back into safety after a brief exposure to vastness. Your breathing is barely perceptible now. The pauses between breaths are longer than the breaths themselves. In, hold, 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 out, hold, 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 in. Each breath is a journey, each exhale a letting go, each inhale a gentle return. And in the spaces between, there's nothing, just stillness, just the peace of not needing to do anything, not needing to be anything, just existing in this moment, in this place, in this perfect now. The grass continues, endless and beautiful and alive. The train continues, steady and sure and patient. The night continues, deep and gentle and welcoming. And you continue, breathing slowly, resting deeply, drifting on the edge of sleep, held safe by the motion of the train, the whisper of the grass, and the vast starlit peace of this endless night. The train knows the way. It has always known. Through the ocean of grass, through the sea of stars, through the depths of night, toward that place of perfect rest where all travelers are welcomed home. The grassland gradually gives way to harder ground, and the train begins to slow as the landscape changes once more. You sense it rather than see it, a shift in the air, a change in the quality of sound, a feeling of walls rising on either side, though at first there's nothing visible but darkness. Then the moon illuminates it, rock faces rising on both sides of the tracks, not steep yet, but present, defining, creating boundaries where before there were none. The train is entering a canyon, you realize, moving into a cleft in the earth where water once flowed, or perhaps still flows, somewhere deep below, carving this passage through stone over countless ages. The canyon walls rise higher as the train progresses, and soon they tower above you on both sides, dark silhouettes against the star-filled sky. The ribbon of stars overhead becomes narrower, compressed between the walls, and you feel held now, cradled, protected by the earth itself. The sound of the train changes here. The wheels on the rails create echoes that bounce off the canyon walls, returning the sound transformed, multiplied. Each click and clack is answered by a ghostly repetition, and then another, and another, creating layers of sound that blend and harmonize. The train is singing to itself, and the canyon is singing back. You listen to the echoes, to the way they overlap and interweave. The rhythm becomes complex, beautiful, like music composed by the earth itself. It's not chaotic. There's order in it, pattern, a structure that emerges from the repetition and delay. It's the kind of music that requires no instrument, no musician, just the natural acoustic properties of stone and space and sound traveling through air. Your breathing continues its slow rhythm, and you notice that it too creates echoes, or perhaps that's just your imagination. In, echo, out, echo. Your breath and the train's motion, both reflected back by the stone, both becoming part of the canyon's symphony. The moonlight illuminates patches of the canyon walls, revealing their texture. The stone is layered. You can see the straighter, horizontal bands of different colors and compositions, each layer representing a different age, a different era of the Earth's history. Some layers are thick, some thin. Some are light in color, some dark. Together they create a timeline written in stone, a record of millions of years compressed into these walls that rise around you. In places, the stone is smooth, polished by ancient water into flowing curves that catch and hold the light. In other places it's rough, fractured, showing the raw edges where pieces broke away. Both are beautiful in their way, the smooth showing the patient work of time and water, the rough revealing the violence of the earth's shifts and changes. A small stream appears beside the tracks, just a trickle really, flowing over stones, catching the moonlight in its ripples. This is what carved the canyon, you think, or at least helped carve it. This tiny flow of water, persistent over unimaginable spans of time, working away at the stone grain by grain, century by century, until it created this vast passage through the earth. The sound of the water adds another layer to the canyon's music. It's a high note compared to the train's deep rhythm, a silvery trickle that weaves between the echoes. The train, the water, the echoes, the stones, all of them combining to create a soundscape that's like nothing you've heard before, like nothing that exists anywhere else. The canyon curves, and as the train follows the curve, you catch a glimpse of yourself in the window's reflection again. Your eyes are closed, your face peaceful, your body completely still. You look like someone already sleeping, already deep in dreams, and the sight is comforting. Sleep is so close now, so very close, just a breath away, just a thought away. The walls grow even higher, and now the sky is just a narrow band of stars overhead, a river of light flowing between cliffs. The train moves deeper into the canyon, into the heart of the earth, and you feel safe here, protected, held by stone that has stood for eons and will stand for eons more. Occasionally you pass a cave mouth, a dark opening in the canyon wall, mysterious and deep, leading who knows where. Bats emerge from one cave as you pass, a flutter of dark wings against the lighter stone, wheeling and diving with impossible precision, calling to each other in voices too high for human ears to hear. They spiral upward toward the narrow strip of sky, following their own paths through the night. The conductor appears once more, their footsteps silent on the carpeted floor. They pause at your seat, and though you don't open your eyes, you sense their presence, feel their kindness. "The canyon of echoes," they whisper, so softly that their voice barely disturbs the air. A place where every sound returns transformed. Some say if you speak your deepest truth here, the canyon will hold it forever, will whisper it back to you whenever you need to hear it. You don't speak. Your truth right now is silence, is peace, is this deep rest that has settled over you like snow. If the canyon holds that, that's enough. The conductor moves on, and you're alone again with the echoes, with the whisper of water, with the train's steady rhythm. Your body has merged with the chair completely now. You can't tell where your skin ends and the velvet begins. You're supported entirely, held completely, requiring no effort, no tension, no engagement with gravity or balance or anything at all. The canyon begins to widen. The walls draw back, not dramatically but gradually, giving more space, more air. The strip of sky overhead becomes broader, revealing more stars. The echoes grow fainter, taking longer to return, until finally they fade away entirely and you're back in the open world. But you carry the canyon with you. Its silence, its depth, its patient strength, all of it has entered you, has become part of you, adding another layer to the peace you feel, another reason to trust the journey, to surrender to the night. The train emerges from the canyon into a broad valley, and the transition is gentle, seamless. One moment you're between walls, the next you're under open sky, and the change feels natural, right, part of the flow of the journey. Nothing is jarring here. Everything unfolds with perfect timing, perfect grace. The valley is dark and quiet, and the train moves through it with barely a sound. The wheels on the rails create their familiar rhythm, but it's softer now, gentler, like a heartbeat heard from inside the womb. Thump thump, thump thump, thump thump. Steady, eternal, reliable as the stars. Your thoughts have almost stopped. Occasionally one drifts through your mind, a word, an image, a feeling, but it doesn't stay, doesn't demand attention. It simply appears and dissolves, like breath on a cold window, leaving no trace. Your mind is becoming empty, clear, spacious, a sky without clouds, water without ripples, silence without sound. The train carries you onward, through the dark valley, under the endless stars, and you rest, deeply rest, held safe by the motion of the train, cradled by the night, supported by the knowledge that there's nowhere you need to be, nothing you need to do, except exactly this: rest, breathe, exist peacefully in this moment that stretches on and on and on. Sleep is here, not coming, not approaching, but here, present, surrounding you. You're in it now, though you may not have noticed the transition. The boundary between waking and sleeping has dissolved, become permeable, and you drift back and forth across it without effort, without awareness, without needing to know which side you're on. The train knows the way. It has always known. Through the canyon of echoes, through the valley of silence, through the depths of night, carrying you safely, gently, lovingly toward that place of complete rest where all journeys end and all dreams begin. The valley floor is soft beneath the train, and the journey continues in a rhythm so gentle, so steady, that it has become part of your heartbeat, part of your breathing, part of the very essence of who you are in this moment. You are the train. The train is you. Both are traveling, both are resting, both are suspended in this perfect now. The darkness ahead begins to change, to take on shapes and forms. At first you can't quite make out what you're seeing, just darker patches in the general darkness, vertical lines that suggest presence, solidity, height. Then the moonlight touches them, and you understand. Trees. But not like any trees you've seen so far tonight. These are ancient beyond measure, massive beyond comprehension. Their trunks are wider than houses, their bark deeply furrowed with age, their branches spreading so far overhead that they create a canopy that blocks out the stars. The train enters the grove slowly, reverently, as if it too recognizes the sanctity of this place. The rails run between these giants, threading a careful path through the grove, and as you pass each tree you feel its presence, its power, its deep and abiding peace. These trees have stood here for thousands of years. They were here before cities, before nations, before most of what you think of as history even began. They've weathered storms and droughts, fires and floods, ice ages and warm periods. They've seen countless creatures live and die at their feet, have sheltered countless nests, have provided food and refuge and stability to the forest community that has grown up around them. The moonlight filters down through the canopy in shafts, creating pools of silver light on the forest floor. Mist rises from the earth, not thick mist, but wispy, ethereal, like the breath of the earth itself made visible. The mist moves slowly between the trees, curling around their trunks, rising and falling with its own mysterious purpose. The air here is different. Cooler, yes, but also richer, deeper, full of something you can't quite name. Life, perhaps. Age. Wisdom. The accumulated presence of thousands of years of growth and being and simple existence. Breathing this air feels like breathing time itself, feels like taking in history, makes you feel connected to all the ages that have passed while these trees stood watch. Your breathing continues its slow rhythm, drawing this ancient air deep into your lungs, holding it, releasing it back to the forest. In and out, each breath an exchange, a conversation between you and these timeless beings, a recognition that you're part of the same world, the same existence, the same vast web of life. The train's light illuminates the trunks as you pass. You can see the texture of the bark, so deeply grooved that small plants grow in the crevices, tiny ferns and mosses making their homes in the shelter of these giants. The bark is home to whole ecosystems, you realize, to insects and spiders, to fungi and lichens, to countless small lives that depend on these trees, that couldn't exist without them. At the base of one tree, you see a hollow, a cave in the trunk where the wood has rotted away, creating a shelter. Something moves inside, a pair of eyes catching the light, and then it's gone, retreating deeper into the tree's protection. A raccoon perhaps, or a possum, or one of the countless creatures that call these ancient trees home. The roots of the trees spread across the ground like rivers, like the gnarled hands of the very old, reaching out and intertwining with the roots of neighboring trees. Underground, these trees are connected, their root systems joining, sharing nutrients and water and information in ways scientists are only beginning to understand. They take care of each other, these ancient beings. They support each other, feed each other when one is struggling, warn each other of danger. They are a community, a family, a single living network. The thought comforts you. Connection. Support. The knowledge that we don't have to stand alone, that there are others, be they trees or people or stars or whatever, that share this existence, that are part of the same great web. You're not alone. You've never been alone. You're part of something vast and interconnected and beautiful. Mushrooms grow at the base of one tree. Large, pale mushrooms with broad caps, glowing softly in the moonlight. They're the fruiting bodies of vast fungal networks that spread through the soil, connecting tree to tree, facilitating communication, breaking down dead matter and returning it to the soil as nutrients. Even in death, Even in decay, there's purpose and beauty and continuation. The train moves deeper into the grove, and the trees grow even larger, even more ancient. One tree you pass must be the grandfather of them all, its trunk so vast that the train seems small beside it, its branches so high that they disappear into the darkness overhead. How long has this tree stood here? 5,000 years? 10,000? Longer? It was here when the earth was young, relatively speaking. It will be here when you're long gone, when everyone you know is gone, when civilizations you can't imagine have risen and fallen. And yet there's no sadness in that thought, only peace. The tree doesn't fear time. It simply exists within it, moment by moment, year by year, growing slowly, changing gradually, being exactly what it is without question or doubt or worry. There's something to learn from that, you think, some wisdom to absorb. Be. Simply be. Let time do what time does. Trust the process. Trust the journey. Your eyes are closed now, have been closed for some time. You don't need to see any more. The grove exists inside you now, lives in your imagination, in your memory, in that place where experiences go to be kept safe. You can feel the presence of the trees even without seeing them, can sense their height, their age, their patient strength. The train rocks you gently, side to side, side to side. The motion is so soothing, so perfectly rhythmic, like being rocked in a cradle, like being held in loving arms. You're safe here, safe in this train, safe in this grove, safe in this night that holds everything with gentle care. An owl calls from somewhere high in the canopy, that same questioning call you heard in the earlier forest. Who are you? Who am I? Who are we all in the end but travelers through time, visitors in this world, passing through on our way to somewhere else? The owl doesn't answer its own question. It simply asks and then falls silent, and the silence is answer enough. The grove begins to thin. The trees become slightly smaller, still ancient, still magnificent, but not quite as vast as the giants at the grove's heart. More light filters through the canopy. The mist begins to fade. The train is moving toward the grove's edge, toward whatever comes next. But you carry the grove with you, just as you've carried everything else you've seen tonight. The sleeping village, the meadow of lanterns, the canyon of echoes, the field of grass, the mirror lake, the garden of stone, all of it is inside you now. All of it has become part of who you are, has added its particular gift to your experience of this night. And the gift of the grove is this: patience, endurance, the knowledge that time passes but presence remains, that we can stand through storms and remain rooted, that growth happens slowly but surely, that being itself is enough. The train emerges from the grove into open land again, and you take one last deep breath of that ancient air, holding it, savoring it, then releasing it with a sigh that's almost like contentment, almost like gratitude, almost like love. Your body is so still now, so quiet, so deeply at rest. You're not sure if you're awake or asleep, and it doesn't matter. The boundary has become meaningless, the distinction irrelevant. You're in that peaceful place between states, and it's perfect, and it's exactly where you need to be. The train carries you on, through the deep night, under the patient stars, toward whatever gentle wonder awaits around the next curve, over the next hill, through the next passage of this beautiful, endless journey into rest. The landscape transforms again, so gradually that you barely notice the transition. The trees thin and disappear, the grass becomes sparse and then vanishes entirely, and the earth itself changes color, from dark to light, from rich brown to pale, almost white. Sand. The train is crossing a desert now, but not the harsh, brutal desert of scorching sun and dangerous heat. This is the desert at night, transformed by darkness and moonlight into something entirely different. Peaceful, cool, beautiful beyond measure. The sand stretches away in all directions, rolling in gentle dunes that rise and fall like frozen waves. In the moonlight, the sand is silver, not white, not grey, but truly silver, as if the entire desert is made of metal dust, as if you're traveling across the surface of the moon itself. The train's light illuminates the sand immediately beside the tracks, turning it golden where the warm glow touches it, and the contrast is striking. Silver and gold, moon and train, coolness and warmth existing side by side, neither overwhelming the other, both beautiful in their own way. The silence here is absolute. No insects sing in the desert night. No birds call. No water trickles. There's only the soft whisper of sand shifting slightly in the breeze, a sound so quiet it's more like the memory of sound than sound itself, and beneath that, the steady rhythm of the train, wheels on rails, the heartbeat that has carried you through the entire night. Your breathing matches the silence, becomes part of it. Each breath is so slow now, so quiet, that it barely disturbs the air. In, out, like the tide on some distant shore, like the gentlest wind, like the breath of someone already deeply, peacefully asleep. The dunes create shadows, long shadows that stretch away from each crest, deep pools of darkness in the valleys between the rises. The contrast between the moonlit sand and the shadowed sand creates a landscape of light and dark, a pattern that flows across the desert like waves on water, like clouds across the sky. As the train passes, you notice how the sand shifts slightly, how the breeze sculpts it constantly, creating ripples and patterns on the dune's surfaces. The patterns look like fingerprints, like the marks water makes on a beach as it recedes, like art created by the wind itself. Each pattern is temporary, existing only until the wind changes and creates something new, but in this moment they're perfect, beautiful, exactly as they should be. A single plant appears beside the tracks, a desert succulent of some kind, its thick leaves storing precious water, its form adapted perfectly to this harsh environment. It seems impossible that anything could grow here, could survive in this place of extremes, but here it is, alive and thriving in its way, making a home in the seemingly inhospitable. Life persists. Life adapts. Life finds a way. The plant passes, and then there's only sand again, endless silver sand under the vast night sky. The stars here are even brighter than they've been anywhere else tonight. With no moisture in the air, no pollution, nothing between you and space itself, the stars shine with crystalline clarity. You can see colors in them, some blue-white, some yellow, some faintly red. Each star a sun, each sun a world unto itself. The train climbs a particularly tall dune, and from the top you can see the desert spreading away in all directions, an ocean of silver under the moon. The view is breathtaking in its simplicity, in its purity. Nothing extra, nothing unnecessary, just sand and sky and the line between them, clean and perfect and eternal. A shooting star streaks across the sky, another one, the second you've seen tonight. Its trail is brilliant, a line of light that persists for a moment after the star itself has burned away. You watch the trail fade, watch it dissolve back into the darkness, and you make no wish this time. You need nothing. You have everything. This moment, this peace, this journey, it's all more than enough. The desert continues, and time continues its strange behavior. stretching, compressing, becoming meaningless. The dunes all look similar, and yet each is unique, each is different, each has its own particular form and character. You pass one after another, and it's like counting breaths, like counting heartbeats, like counting the moments themselves as they flow by. A small creature appears on a dune, just for a moment, just a glimpse. A desert fox, perhaps, or a hare, its form barely visible in the moonlight, moving quickly across the sand and then disappearing over the crest. You smile at the sight, glad to know that even here, in this place of silence and silver sand, life exists, life moves, life goes about its business in the deep of night. The air through the window is cool now, desert cool, the temperature dropping as it always does in places where there's no moisture to hold the heat. The coolness is refreshing, cleansing, like drinking clear water, like washing your face in a mountain stream. It clears away any remaining fog, any lingering tension, leaving only clarity and peace. The train begins to descend, not just down a dune, but down in general, as if the desert itself is sloping, dropping gradually toward lower elevations. The sand becomes mixed with small stones, then larger rocks, then patches of harder ground. The desert is ending, transitioning into something else, and the change is so gradual, so gentle, that it feels natural, inevitable, right? A line of darker color appears on the horizon ahead. Vegetation, you think, or perhaps shadow, or perhaps both. The train is approaching the desert's edge, approaching the end of this silver sea, and while part of you wants to stay in the silence and simplicity forever, another part is ready for what comes next, ready for the journey to continue. Your eyes remain closed. You haven't opened them in some time, and there's no need to open them now. The desert exists in your mind, in your memory, in the feeling of peace it's given you. You carry it with you, will always carry it with you, along with everything else you've experienced tonight. The sand beneath the train gives way to harder ground, and the sound changes slightly, becomes more solid, more resonant. The desert is behind you now, and the train moves forward into whatever comes next. But the gift of the desert remains: simplicity, clarity, the understanding that sometimes less is more, that emptiness can be full, that silence can be more eloquent than any sound. The desert taught you to be still, to embrace the quiet, to find peace in the absence of distraction. And you are still. You are quiet. You are at peace. So deeply at peace that peace has become your natural state, your default mode, the very essence of who you are in this moment on this train in the depths of this gentle, endless night. The train carries you on, away from the silver sand, toward new landscapes, new wonders, new moments of beauty in this journey that seems like it could last forever, and perhaps, in a way, it does. The hard ground beneath the train softens again, and the scent that comes through the window tells you everything you need to know before you even open your eyes, though your eyes remain closed, comfortable in their darkness, content in their rest. Flowers. Not just any flowers, but night-blooming flowers, their perfume thick and sweet and complex on the cool air. This is a garden, you realize, but not like the orchard earlier in the night. This is a garden planted specifically for darkness, for moonlight, for travelers who pass through when the sun is gone and the stars hold watch. The train slows to barely more than a walking pace, and through your closed eyelids you can sense the change in light. The moonlight is brighter here, reflected back by pale petals, amplified by the whiteness of the blooms. Night flowers are almost always white or pale yellow. You remember, the better to be seen in darkness, the better to attract the moths and night insects that pollinate them. You open your eyes just slightly, just enough to see through your lashes, and the sight is breathtaking. On both sides of the tracks, as far as you can see, flowers bloom in profusion. Moonflowers with their large, trumpet-shaped blossoms. Night-blooming jasmine with its small, star-like flowers that produce that intoxicating scent. Evening primrose, their pale yellow petals luminous in the darkness. And others you don't recognize, exotic blooms that might exist only here, in this garden that exists only for the night train to pass through. The garden is formal in its layout. You can see paths winding between planted beds, see arbors and trellises covered with climbing vines, see stone benches positioned in alcoves where someone might sit and breathe in the perfume and watch the moon track across the sky. But there's no one here now. The garden is yours alone, yours and the train's, a gift offered to travelers, asking nothing in return. The scent is almost overwhelming in its richness. Each variety of flower contributes its own note to the symphony. Jasmine's sweetness, moonflower's subtle musk, primrose's delicate freshness, and underneath it all, the green scent of leaves and stems and the earth that nourishes them. Breathing it in, you feel almost intoxicated, almost dizzy with the beauty of it, with a generous abundance of perfume poured out into the night air for anyone who passes to enjoy. Moths dance among the flowers, night butterflies, pale and soft, their wings catching the moonlight as they move from bloom to bloom. They're silent in their flight, graceful, purposeful. Each moth knows which flowers hold the nectar it seeks, knows by scent or by memory or by some instinct deeper than knowing. They're workers in the night garden, trading their service as pollinators for the sweetness the flowers offer. The train passes under an arbor covered with some kind of climbing vine, its white flowers hanging down like small bells, and for a moment you're enclosed by blooms, surrounded by them, immersed in their presence. The scent intensifies, becomes almost a physical thing, and you breathe it deeply, let it fill your lungs, your blood, your very cells. A fountain plays softly in the garden's center. You see it as the train passes, illuminated by moonlight, water rising and falling in a gentle arc, splashing softly into a pool below. The water catches the light and throws it back, creates sparkles and flashes that dance across the nearby flowers, making them seem even more alive, even more magical. Around the fountain, the flowers are planted in circular beds that spiral outward, creating a mandala of blooms, a pattern that's both planned and organic, both structured and wild. Someone designed this garden with great care, great love, understanding that beauty in darkness requires different considerations than beauty in light, that night has its own aesthetic, its own requirements, its own magic. Your breathing draws the perfume deeper and deeper into your body, and with each breath you feel more relaxed, more at peace, more willing to let go of any remaining tension or thought or concern. The flower's gift is not just beauty, but also this: release, surrender, the permission to simply be present in this moment without needing to do anything, accomplish anything, become anything other than what you already are. The garden path beside the tracks is paved with white stones that glow in the moonlight, creating a luminous trail that winds through the beds of flowers. You imagine walking that path in daylight. Would the flowers be closed then, hiding their beauty from the sun? Or would some remain open, defiant, insisting on their own schedule? You'll never know, and that's fine. This is a garden for night, and you're experiencing it exactly as it's meant to be experienced. A white peacock stands beside the path, its tail feathers spread in full display, though there's no one to display for except you, except the train, except the night itself. The feathers catch the moonlight and seem to glow from within, each eye spot on each feather a perfect circle of iridescence. The bird is motionless, a statue, a work of art come to life, and as the train passes it turns its head slowly to watch, its movements graceful and deliberate. The conductor appears one more time, standing at the front of the carriage now, looking back at the passengers. Most are sleeping, you notice, heads tilted back, mouths slightly open, faces peaceful and relaxed. The elderly woman you saw at the beginning of the journey is still smiling in her sleep. The young man by the window has his forehead pressed against the glass, breath fogging it slightly with each exhale. The conductor's eyes meet yours, and they smile, a smile of such kindness, such understanding, that you feel blessed by it, held by it. They nod slightly, as if to say, "Yes, you're doing perfectly, you're exactly where you need to be," and then they move on, disappearing into the next carriage, continuing their eternal round of care and watching. The garden begins to change. The flowers remain abundant, but now they're mixed with herbs. You can smell them, can identify some of them. Lavender, yes, and rosemary, and something that might be sage. The scents are drier, more astringent, cutting through the sweetness of the flowers, adding complexity, adding depth. These are healing plants, you think, plants that ease the mind and soothe the spirit, and their presence here is deliberate, intentional, part of the garden's gift. A bench appears beside the track, and on it, someone has left a book, just like the bench at the very first station where you boarded. The pages turn slowly in the gentle breeze, and you catch a glimpse of words, of lines of poetry perhaps, before the train carries you past. Another mystery, another small beautiful detail that adds to the richness of the night. The flowers are thinning now, the beds becoming smaller, the spaces between them wider. The garden is ending, has given you its gifts, and now releases you to continue your journey. But the perfume remains, in your clothes, in your hair, in your lungs, in your memory. You carry the garden with you, as you've carried everything else, each experience adding to the others, building a palace of peace inside your mind where you can always return, where you can always find rest. Your eyes close again. When did you open them fully? You can't remember, and behind your closed lids the flowers remain, glowing white and pale yellow, dancing slightly in a breeze you can no longer feel. The image fades slowly, gently, like mist burning off in morning sun, and what's left is just a feeling, just a sense of sweetness and peace and blessing received. The train continues onward, leaving the garden behind, and the night deepens around you. The hours have passed. How many? It doesn't matter. Time has no meaning here, no power, no hold over you. There's only this moment, this breath, this gentle rocking of the train as it carries you through the darkness toward whatever comes next. Your body is so still now, so deeply relaxed, that you might be made of the same substance as the night itself, soft, dark, peaceful, all-encompassing. You're not separate from the journey anymore. You are the journey. You're the train and the tracks and the night and the flowers and the stars and the breath that moves in and out, slower and slower and slower still. Sleep is here. Sleep has been here for some time. You're in it now, floating in it, held by it, surrounded by it. And it's perfect. So perfect. So peaceful. So gentle and kind, and exactly what you needed all along. The train knows. It has always known. Through the garden of night blooms, through the perfume and peace, through the endless gentle darkness, carrying you safely home. The world beyond the windows has become softer, hazier, as if reality itself is dissolving into dream. The train moves through mist again, not the thick cloud mist of the earlier valley, but something finer, more delicate, more like the breath of the earth made visible in the cool night air. This mist doesn't obscure the world. Instead, it transforms it. Everything you see, the trees that line the tracks, the gentle hills in the distance, the occasional rock or fence post, all of it appears softened, gentled, as if seen through gauze or through the veil of memory itself. Sharp edges blur. Hard surfaces soften. The world becomes dreamlike, peaceful, suspended between what is and what might be. The train's speed has decreased even further. You're barely moving now, just drifting, floating through the mist like a ship on a calm sea, like a thought moving through a quiet mind. The rhythm of the wheels has slowed to match, become more a suggestion of motion than motion itself. Thump, thump, thump. Each sound arrives after a pause, patient, unhurried, eternal. Your breathing has matched this slowness. Each breath is a journey that takes long, peaceful seconds to complete. Inhale slowly, slowly, filling your lungs from bottom to top. Hold gently, no effort, no tension. Exhale even more slowly, releasing everything, letting go of everything. Hold in the emptiness, rest in the space between breaths, and then begin again, another slow cycle, another gentle round of breath finding its way in and out of your body. Through the mist, shapes appear and disappear like memories surfacing and sinking again. A willow tree, its long branches trailing down, appearing out of the whiteness and then fading back into it. A small stone bridge over a stream you cannot see but can hear, its water trickling softly somewhere in the mist. A weathered gate standing alone, opening onto nothing, or perhaps onto everything, its wood dark with age and moisture. These images don't demand your attention. They simply present themselves, exist for a moment, and then release themselves back into the mist. Like thoughts do when you're falling asleep, appearing, floating past, dissolving, leaving no trace, asking nothing of you. You watch them come and go, and you feel nothing but peace, nothing but acceptance, nothing but the deep contentment of someone who has surrendered to the journey completely. The mist carries scents, damp earth and wet leaves, moss and stone, the particular freshness that comes from water suspended in air. It's the smell of early morning, of late evening, of times when the world is quiet and the veil between sleeping and waking grows thin. Breathing it in, you feel cleansed, renewed, as if the mist is washing away any remaining residue of wakefulness, any last traces of the day that came before this endless, beautiful night. A figure appears in the mist beside the tracks, just for a moment, just a glimpse. It might be a person standing still, or it might be a tree, or it might be nothing at all, just a trick of the mist and the moonlight and your mind creating meaning from randomness. You don't try to figure it out. You let it be what it is, let it remain a mystery, understanding that not everything needs to be known, not everything needs to be understood. The conductor walks through the carriage one last time, moving even more slowly than before, or perhaps time itself has slowed, perhaps the entire world is winding down like a clock running towards stillness. They pause at each passenger, checking, ensuring, caring. When they reach you, they stand for a long moment, looking down at your peaceful face, your closed eyes, your body so still it might already be sleeping. They don't speak. There's nothing left to say. Instead, they reach out and adjust the blanket you didn't realize had been placed over you. When did that happen? How long ago? It doesn't matter. The blanket is soft, warm, perfect, and it covers you completely, tucking you in like a child, like someone deeply loved, like someone worthy of care and protection. The conductor moves on, and you sink deeper into the chair, deeper into the blanket, deeper into the peace that has become your entire world. You're cocooned now, wrapped in softness, held by warmth, surrounded by the gentle rocking of the train and the whisper of mist and the soft darkness that holds everything with infinite tenderness. The mist grows thicker for a moment, and the world disappears entirely. There's only whiteness, only softness, only the sensation of floating suspended in something that's not quite air and not quite water but something in between, something that holds you up without effort, that carries you forward without movement, that exists outside of time and space and all the usual rules of reality. And then the mist thins again, just slightly, and through it you see lights. Small lights, soft lights, like candles or fireflies or distant stars that have fallen to earth. They glow in the mist, creating halos around themselves, and they're beautiful, so beautiful, like promises of home, like signs of welcome, like beacons guiding you to a place of rest and safety and peace. The train moves toward the lights, or perhaps the lights move toward the train. In the mist, it's impossible to tell. Direction has become meaningless. Distance has become irrelevant. There's only the slow drift toward light, toward warmth, toward whatever waits at the end of this journey that has lasted forever and taken no time at all. Your thoughts have stopped entirely now. There's no voice in your head, no stream of consciousness, no internal dialogue or commentary or observation. There's just awareness, pure, simple, uncomplicated awareness of being here, being now, being held and carried and cared for by this train, this night, this journey that has become your entire existence. The lights grow closer, or perhaps you're growing closer to them. They multiply, spread out, form patterns in the mist. They're welcoming you, these lights, inviting you, calling you home to a place you've never been but somehow always known, a place that exists just for you, that's been waiting for you all along, that has held a space open for your arrival. The mist begins to glow with the combined light of all these small flames, these gentle beacons. It's not bright. Nothing about this night has been bright or harsh or demanding, but it's enough, more than enough. It's the perfect amount of light for this moment, for this transition, for this gentle crossing from one state to another. Your breathing has become so slow that you might not be breathing at all, or perhaps you're breathing with the rhythm of the earth itself, one breath for every turn of the planet, one exhale for every setting of the moon. In and out, the pause between each breath growing longer, more spacious, more filled with peace and silence and the deep, abiding stillness of complete rest. The train rocks you gently, so gently, and the rocking is like the motion of waves on a calm sea, like the swaying of a cradle, like the rhythm of a heartbeat heard from inside the womb. It's the most ancient comfort, the most primal reassurance, the movement that tells you without words that you're safe, you're held, you're loved. The mist, the lights, the rocking, the blanket, the darkness, the peace, all of it blends together into one experience, one feeling, one vast and gentle embrace that holds you completely. You've never felt so safe. You've never felt so at peace. You've never been so ready to let go, to release, to surrender into sleep. And sleep is here. Sleep has arrived. Sleep has been here all along, waiting patiently for you to find it, to sink into it, to become one with it. The boundary between you and sleep has dissolved entirely. You are sleep now. Sleep is you. There's no difference, no separation, no place where one ends and the other begins. The train continues through the mist, through the lights, through the soft and gentle night. And you continue with it, drifting, floating, resting, sleeping, dreaming, held safe by the motion and the darkness and the infinite care of this journey that has no end because it exists outside of time, this journey that will carry you through the night and into the morning and through all the nights and mornings to come. The train knows the way. It has always known. Through the valley of mist and memory, through the lights that glow like promises, through the deep and perfect darkness, carrying you home, carrying you to rest, carrying you to the place where all travelers find peace. The lights in the mist have resolved themselves into something more defined, more present, though still soft and dreamlike in their appearance. They're lanterns, you realize, the same kind of paper lanterns you saw in the meadow hours ago, or perhaps it was minutes ago, or perhaps it was in another lifetime entirely. Time has no meaning here. There's only now, only this moment, only this gentle progression toward something that feels like both an ending and a beginning. The mist begins to clear, not suddenly but gradually, lifting like a curtain being drawn back by invisible hands. Through it, you see a platform, another station, but different from the one where you began your journey. This one is larger, more elaborate, built from some pale stone that glows softly in the moonlight as if lit from within. The train slows even further, and the sound of the wheels changes, becomes quieter, more reverent. You're arriving somewhere important, somewhere sacred, somewhere that deserves respect and quiet and care. The rhythm slows to almost nothing. Thump, thump, thump. Each sound separated by long, peaceful seconds. The platform comes into clearer view as the mist continues to lift. There are no walls here, no roof, just an open space beneath the vast dome of the star-filled sky. Columns rise at intervals along the platform's edge, supporting nothing, purely decorative, purely beautiful, their surfaces carved with patterns that catch and hold the moonlight. Between the columns, the lanterns hang, hundreds of them, perhaps thousands, suspended at different heights, creating layers of soft, warm light that fills the space with golden radiance. They sway gently in a breeze you cannot feel, and their light dances and plays across the pale stone, across the few benches that line the platform, across everything, bringing warmth and welcome and peace. The train glides to a stop so smoothly that you barely notice the transition from movement to stillness. One moment you're moving, the next you're still, and the change is seamless, perfect, exactly as it should be. The engine sighs, releasing steam that rises into the night air and mingles with the last traces of mist. The sound is like a long, satisfied exhale, like someone settling into a comfortable chair after a long journey, like contentment made audible. For a long moment, nothing happens. The train rests. You rest. The night rests. Everything exists in perfect stillness, in perfect peace, in perfect presence. There's no hurry here. There's no rush. There's only this moment, stretching out in all directions, spacious and gentle and complete. Then, slowly, the door of your carriage opens. You didn't see anyone open it, didn't hear footsteps approaching, but it opens nonetheless, and warm light spills out onto the platform, mixing with the lantern light, creating a glow that's both golden and amber, both warm and cool, both inviting and peaceful. The conductor appears in the doorway, silhouetted against the light, and they stand there for a moment, just being present, just witnessing. Then they step aside, and you understand, without words, without explanation, without needing to be told, that you could leave the train now if you wanted to. You could step out onto this platform beneath the stars, could walk among the lanterns, could explore this place that exists at the edge of sleep, at the boundary between waking and dreaming. But you don't want to move. Your body is so comfortable, so deeply at rest, so perfectly positioned that movement seems impossible, unnecessary, almost absurd. Why move when staying still is so perfect? Why leave when you're exactly where you need to be? And so you remain, watching through the window as others disembark. The elderly woman rises slowly, carefully, and makes her way to the door. The conductor helps her down, taking her hand, supporting her weight, and she steps onto the platform and pauses, looking up at the stars with an expression of wonder and peace. She walks slowly away, disappearing between the columns, going wherever it is she needs to go. The young man leaves too, and a few others, passengers you barely noticed during the journey, people who traveled alongside you through the night, sharing this experience, sharing this peace. Each one steps down onto the platform, each one pauses to look around, to take in the beauty of this place, and then each one walks away into the soft darkness beyond the lanterns. But many passengers remain on the train. You're not the only one who stays. The train is still full of sleepers, full of people so deeply at rest that they've merged with their chairs, become one with the gentle rocking, surrendered so completely to the journey that they have no need or desire to leave it. The conductor moves through the carriage again, checking on those who remain, and when they reach you, they smile, that same warm, knowing smile you've seen several times during the night. "You can stay as long as you need," they whisper, their voice barely audible, barely more than breath. The train goes on. It always goes on. Through the night and into the day and through the night again. Some passengers travel for one night, some for many nights. Some never leave at all. Take your time. Rest as long as you need. The journey isn't over unless you want it to be. You understand. This is not a destination. Not really. Or rather, it's a destination that's also a continuation, a stopping point that's also a passage. You can stay on the train, can continue this peaceful floating through the night, can rest and sleep and dream for as long as you need. There's no requirement to wake, no need to return to the ordinary world, no pressure to do anything except exactly what you're doing, resting, sleeping, being held and carried and cared for by this train, this night, this journey. The conductor moves on, and through your half-closed eyes, you see them helping the last few passengers who want to leave. Each one is treated with the same care, the same tenderness, the same respect. And then the door closes, softly, gently, and the train is quiet again, holding only the sleepers now, only those who have surrendered so completely that they've become part of the journey itself. The platform remains visible through your window, the lanterns still glowing, the columns still standing, the pale stone still luminous under the stars. It's beautiful, so beautiful, and knowing it's there, knowing you could step out onto it if you wanted to, somehow makes staying on the train even more peaceful, even more perfect. You've chosen to stay. This is your choice. And the choice itself is a gift. The train begins to move again, so slowly at first that you barely notice, just the gentlest return of that familiar rocking, that beloved rhythm. The platform slides past your window, the lanterns glowing warmly in farewell, and then the columns, and then you're moving away from the station of stars, back into the open night, back into the darkness and peace and gentle motion. But the station remains in your mind, in your heart, in your memory. You know it's there now. You know you could return to it any time you want, could step off the train into that space of light and peace, could explore whatever lies beyond the columns in the soft darkness. But for now, staying is perfect. For now, being carried is exactly what you need. The stars overhead are beginning to shift, you notice. Or perhaps it's just your imagination. Or perhaps it's that time has continued its mysterious flow and dawn is approaching somewhere far away. But here, on the train, the night continues. The darkness holds. The peace remains. And you rest, so deeply rest, so completely rest, held safe by the motion and the night and the knowledge that you're exactly where you need to be. Your breathing continues its slow rhythm. In, hold, out, hold. Each cycle taking longer, each breath deeper, each moment of stillness more profound. You're not quite awake and not quite asleep, or perhaps you're both at once, or perhaps you've moved beyond such simple categories into a state that has no name, that needs no name, that simply is. The train carries you onward, through the endless, gentle night. And you let it. You trust it. You surrender to it completely, knowing that wherever it takes you, it will be exactly where you need to go, knowing that however long the journey lasts, it will be exactly as long as it needs to be. The train knows the way. It has always known. Through the station of stars, through the choice to stay or go, through the deep and perfect night, carrying you safely, gently, lovingly, toward rest, toward sleep, toward peace, toward home. The station of stars is far behind you now, a memory like all the other beautiful memories of this night. The moonlit lake, the sleeping village, the ancient trees, the silver desert, the garden of flowers. Each one a gift, each one perfect, each one adding to the deep and abiding peace that has become your natural state, your true home. The train moves through darkness that's complete and perfect. There are no landmarks now, no features to the landscape, nothing to mark the passage except the steady rhythm of the wheels, the gentle rocking, the soft darkness that surrounds you like water, like air, like the embrace of someone who loves you unconditionally. You're not alone in the carriage. The other passengers who stayed are here with you, each one sleeping peacefully in their velvet chairs, each one surrendered completely to rest. You can hear the soft sound of their breathing, slow, deep, peaceful, and it blends with your own breathing, creates a symphony of rest, a chorus of sleepers all moving together through the night toward deeper and deeper peace. The boundaries of your body have become uncertain. You're not sure where your skin ends and the chair begins, not sure where the chair ends and the train begins, not sure where the train ends and the night begins. Everything has merged, blended, become one. You are the train. The train is you. Both are traveling, both are resting, both are suspended in this timeless now that stretches on forever. Your thoughts are gone entirely. There's no thinking anymore, no planning, no remembering, no anticipating. There's just this presence, awareness, being, pure existence without the complications of mind, without the burden of self, without the weight of identity. You've dissolved into the moment, become transparent, become nothing and everything at once. The darkness outside the window is so complete that you can see your reflection clearly now, or rather, what was once your reflection. The face looking back at you is peaceful beyond description, so still it might be sleeping, might be dreaming, might have crossed over into some other state entirely. The eyes are closed. The expression is serene. There's no tension anywhere, no holding, no resistance to anything. Your thoughts are gone entirely. There's no thinking anymore, no planning, no remembering, no anticipating. There's just this presence, awareness, being, pure existence without the complications of mind, without the burden of self, without the weight of identity. You've dissolved into the moment, become transparent, become nothing and everything at once. The darkness outside the window is so complete that you can see your reflection clearly now, or rather, what was once your reflection. The face looking back at you is peaceful beyond description, so still it might be sleeping, might be dreaming, might have crossed over into some other state entirely. The eyes are closed. The expression is serene. There's no tension anywhere, no holding, no resistance to anything. And looking at this reflection, you realize something profound. This is who you truly are. Not the worried person of daytime, not the busy person of waking hours, but this peaceful being who knows how to rest, who knows how to trust, who knows how to let go and be carried through the darkness by forces larger and kinder than the small self can imagine. The train's rhythm has slowed to something barely perceptible. You're moving, yes, but so slowly that it's more like floating, like drifting on a current so gentle it might not be moving at all. Time has stopped. Space has become irrelevant. There's only this eternal moment, this endless now, this perfect stillness that somehow contains all motion, all change, all possibility. The conductor appears one last time, moving through the carriage like a dream, like a thought, like a presence that might not be entirely physical. They pause beside each sleeping passenger, and though they don't touch them, don't speak to them, something passes between them, a blessing perhaps, or a confirmation, or simply the acknowledgement that all is well, all is as it should be, all is perfect. When they reach you, they stand for a long moment, looking down at your peaceful face. And then, so softly that you might be imagining it, they speak. Sleep well, dear traveller. The night is long, and the journey is safe. You're held. You're protected. You're loved. Rest as deeply as you need. Dream as beautifully as you want. And know that this train will carry you through the darkness, through the night, through all the nights to come, for as long as you need. You're home now. You've always been home. This is where you belong. Your breathing has become so slow that you're barely breathing at all. Minutes might pass between breaths now, or maybe just seconds that feel like minutes, or maybe time has stopped entirely and breathing has become something that happens outside of time, in some other dimension where the rules are different, where everything is measured not in moments but in feelings, not in duration but in depth. The train continues through the endless night, and the night welcomes it, embraces it, becomes one with it. Train and night, night and train, motion and stillness, sound and silence, all of it blending together into one experience, one reality, one vast and gentle peace. You sink deeper into the chair, deeper into sleep, deeper into the darkness that's no longer dark but luminous, glowing with its own interior light, full of stars you can't see but can feel, populated with dreams you're not yet dreaming but soon will be. The velvet of the chair is so soft against your skin. The blanket covering you is so warm and light. The pillow that appeared beneath your head, when did that happen? Is so perfectly positioned, so ideally supportive. Everything has been arranged for your comfort, for your rest, for your journey into the deep places where healing happens, where renewal occurs, where the soul returns to remember what it knows but had forgotten. The sound of the train has faded to almost nothing. Just the faintest whisper of motion, the subtlest suggestion of wheels on rails, like a heartbeat heard from very far away, like the pulse of the universe itself, steady and eternal and infinitely reassuring. You're sleeping now. Or perhaps you've been sleeping for hours. Or perhaps you're in that place beyond sleep where consciousness and unconsciousness merge, where dreaming and waking become indistinguishable, where you exist in a state of pure rest that's deeper than any sleep you've known before. And in this state, you know things without knowing how you know them. You know that the train will carry you safely through the night. You know that morning will come when it's meant to come, that you'll wake when you're ready to wake, that everything will unfold exactly as it should. You know that you're safe, you're held, you're loved beyond measure. You know that this journey, this beautiful, peaceful, perfect journey through the night, is a gift you can return to whenever you need it. The train is always here, always running, always ready to carry you through the darkness into rest. All you have to do is board it, find your seat, surrender to the rhythm, and let it take you where you need to go. The darkness is complete now, total, absolute. There's nothing to see, nothing to hear, nothing to feel except the deepest peace you've ever known. And in this darkness, in this silence, in this perfect stillness, you rest. You rest so deeply that rest becomes your entire world. You rest so completely that there's no part of you that isn't at peace. You rest so perfectly that you become rest itself, become peace itself, become the quiet center of everything, the still point around which the world turns. The train carries you on, through the endless, gentle night, through the deep and perfect darkness, through the vast and loving peace, carrying you home, carrying you to sleep, carrying you to rest. And you surrender completely, knowing that wherever this journey takes you, it will be exactly where you need to be. The train knows the way. It has always known. Through the endless night, it carries you safely, gently, lovingly, home, to rest, to peace, to sleep, deep, peaceful, restful sleep, now and always, safe in the darkness, held by the night, carried by the train that only travels at night. Rest now, sleep now, dream peacefully. You're home.